I don't know what salute.
Salute.
Saluto.
I think it's salute or something.
So cerveja.
Cerveja.
Saluje.
Salute. It might not even have an L. I think it's just salute.
Just say with a bit of like zazz
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Saluje.
Salute.
Let's just come up with that. That sounds fucking great.
Salute. Like a Spanish person with a Russian accent.
Let's zap it right. We're rolling, by the way.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, going.
Mm.
Cool.
Context.
Yeah. Xav, you've been traveling South America.
Yeah.
And we haven't let you tell us about it
Yeah.
until we roll the pod like an hour in.
First thing is I pull up on a motorbike on my moto taxi, and I hear Tim and Ted yell out, "Xav!" You
got to say as well, you had to get 2 taxis to get here.
Yeah. So I actually called an Uber initially, and then in broken Spanish, he communicates to me. He's like,
Portuguese.
or broken Portuguese. Yeah, he was speaking Portuguese, and I'm trying to communicate in my understand him from my broken Spanish perspective. It was pretty hard. But essentially, he goes, favela, like this one, and like we kind of go, oh yeah, that's the car. Can't get up the hill. In loose terms, and then he's like, I'm like, what am I getting myself into? Like I'm starting to feel pretty nervous. And he's like, yeah, shh, car, like, no, like, I'm like, he's like, favela. I'm like, okay, that's great. And then he's like, moto taxi. And I'm trying to communicate to this guy that I don't have internet, so I can't just buy a fucking taxi. So he pulls some guy over on the side of the road. He's like,
so you're already going in
I'm
Uber?
in an Uber, and he's like, no. Like, he's trying to tell me, I'm not taking you to this favela. I'm not taking my car there.
Are you like anywhere near here at this point? Like, are you almost here?
Yeah, I'm like 15 minutes away.
Okay.
15 minutes
It's just been driving you for half an hour.
Yeah, he drove me like pretty much most of the way.
What?
And then, yeah, he goes, yeah, like, favela, no. And he goes to the window, he goes, bro. Terrible.
This guy's a pussy.
Yeah, anyway. He seemed like a nice bloke. He tried to start a conversation. He was like, oh yeah, Sevilla, like, because one car had like heaps of beer next to us. Like, he was trying to have a laugh, and I was like, sorry, muy poquito español, like, very little Spanish. Anyways, so I had to like transfer him money so he could give money to the person.
But you've already paid for the Uber, no?
So that's now sunk cost fallacy, because he's not taking me. Like, he's just not.
Shouldn't he then pay for the motor taxi?
Like, yeah. How am I going to explain that in Spanish with no internet? Like, so I ended up having to pay more for this freaking thing. But like, I did the maths in my head. It was like $10 Australian or $5 Australian. So I was like, in Brazilian, that's like a freaking rip off. But like, I'm just like, whatever. So then, yeah, he just pulls some random guy on the side of the road. We somehow figure out. So I transfer him money, and then he pays the guy cash. And then the guy just like takes me around a corner to his motorbike, jump on his motorbike.
Oh, so the guy wasn't even driving.
He stopped.
But the guy he pulled over was just a
Like,
guy.
he was driving, and he's like, he just like pulls down his window. He's like, hey, like, stop. Like, I need you to take this guy or something like that in Portuguese. So I just jump out of this car, take my bag, jump on this motorbike. Like, we're going through like all these back streets and stuff. And then, yeah, like 10:15, I'm like here, and then you guys yell
And
at.
you see us dressed exactly basically how we are, sipping these beers.
I don't see, like, I just like, I get to the casa, the door, and like, you hear the whitest Xav, you know, and I'm like, oh, it's Tim. And then you just see Ted's head and like the curly hair, and I'm like, oh my God, like, this feels good to be around 2 other blokes I know now. Yeah, so then, yeah, and then we just start sipping beers. And, well, yeah, and what was the initial question? Where do we start?
I don't even know. Yeah.
I don't know.
What have you been
Anyways,
doing? Yeah, what have you been doing? We haven't heard from you for like 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah, so, okay, yeah, more context. So, first thing Tim gets is like, look, I want to hear about your stories, but let's save it for the pod. So, here we are. So, I've been here for 3 weeks. I got here like early December. Get to my friend Santiago's house, like, recover a bit from jet lag because it was really bad for me. So it was like a day, like, I think I slept an hour that night. Like, it was just a bit.
Santiago from Santiago.
Yeah, Santiago. My friend's name is Santiago, and he's from Santiago. So.
And he's coming tonight here.
And he's coming tonight here.
Brilliant.
And yeah, so what we do
Brazilian.
What?
Brazilian.
Brazilian. Yes, it is Brazilian. And then so
I'm
for
glad
context,
just
that's
just
yeah.
even that moment. I'm glad we have this. It makes this all worth it. You know.
Anyway, so I'm with Santiago in Santiago. I do like one like touristy day of just like seeing the mountain, taking it's called the teleferico, like the
Cable car.
cable car.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful. Go around, try some Chilean
Real
food.
quick, since you're in Santiago, last time I was there, it had just had these crazy riots, and 98% of shop fronts were boarded up and graffitied and smashed and everything.
Okay.
Shopping centres burned. Was there any evidence of any of that?
No. Santiago is like, for me, I think it's like I felt safe. Although as soon as I get there, they're like, it's unsafe. Like you're Australian, like you don't know what's going on.
Because 8 months before that time,
Yeah.
it had been perfect, and then I went directly after the protest, and it was
Yeah, I mean,
anarchy. But it's fine now. There's no
I
evidence.
felt like it was super safe.
Safe.
At least I was in an area called Las Condes, which is like the nice area of Santiago, and I was like, this is great. So we go up to Teleferico. I do some like walking around on my own, and then pretty much go to sleep that night. And next day in the morning, we're straight off to Patagonia. Me and Santiago and two of his best friends. But anyways, so then we go straight to Patagonia, and essentially there's like no plan. So, there's a rough plan. We want to go to a mountain called Cerro Castillo, which is Castle Mountain.
Yeah.
Quite beautiful. We want to go to like potentially Lake Cochrane. It's really, we can go as far south as we want, but it depends on transport. And like, of course, we're not organising any
So you're
transport.
just busing down there?
No, we're hitchhiking like the whole way.
From Santiago?
We caught a plane to
Calafate?
Balmacera, I think.
Okay.
Balsamera. Anyways, starts with a B.
God, so like a couple hours on the plane or something.
Yeah, like a 2.5 hour flight, 3 hour flight,
Okay.
straight south.
Yeah.
So then we go around there, and then we just negotiate with some cab driver to drop us off at the intersection of this freeway. And we just start hitchhiking down, and it was just like hitchhiker's paradise. Like
Is this the Carretera Austral?
the Carretera Austral. It is quite literally the best hitchhiking you will ever have.
As in
Like-
easy to get it right or beautiful?
Both.
Yeah.
Like ratio to like car to pickup is like incredible.
Mm.
I would potentially double it at like 10%. Like most people are
Is it
stopping
1
to
in
pick you
10
up.
cars?
1 in 10, maybe not 1 in 10, maybe 1 in
So
20. But
Well, like, what was your wait time?
wait time was pretty long. Wait time was like 20
Okay.
minutes
Yeah.
because there's so few cars going through. Like it's
Yeah.
not hugely populated. Like when we were in Paris, like there's just cars,
Yeah.
getting rejected flat right, like left, right, and center by these French or whatever. You go to Patagonia,
We're in the middle of nowhere.
and everyone's just like so kind. We first get picked up by these beautiful, these beautiful grandparents, Elizabeth and Jaime, and speaking Spanish, and like I know no Spanish, and all the guys are doing all the talking, which is weird for me because I'm usually
many
doing
are
all the
you with?
talking.
How many blokes are you
It's
with?
4 of us,
4.
so we're doing.
Trying to hitchhike with 4 people.
We did more than that in the. We got
split up
6. No, we got 6 people.
And you got right.
I'm telling you, the Carretera Austral is the place for hitchhikers.
So 6,
We're
you
in-
like in the back of a ute?
We're in the back of utes the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, so good. Like,
that's where I had my debut hitchhiking.
Really?
Carretera Austral.
it's
I was going north, and must have been the wrong season because there were just so few cars. We'd wait 3 hours sometimes.
yeah. Carretera Austral is the gateway drug to hitchhiking.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's just so like, it's just so everyone's so friendly. There's like, you just feel so welcomed, and yeah. The good thing is that I was with Spanish speakers, like fluent Spanish speakers, so they were doing all the talking, and I was just enjoying views and soaking it up. And
So how did you pick up those other 2?
no, they were with us. They were Santiago's 2 best friends from Santiago.
No, but then the
Oh,
fifth
then
and
we met
sixth-
some. So, okay, they were Pablo, one of Santi's friends, Santiago, knew those guys from school, and they came along with us as well. So then we have 6 of us. Actually, no, but they ended up splitting off. But then we found some other friends that came with us. This guy from Germany, who came with us in our next hitchhike as well. Anyways, it was just like a cesspool of hitchhiking. Like it was
Brilliant.
great.
Yeah.
It was so good. Yeah. So we just hitchhiked straight south.
Back of a ute through Patagonia with 5 other blokes.
Yeah.
Just.
And
oh.
And like first day, or all the days were perfect weather except one, and we didn't like. It was like the day of the weather. It was the day that we didn't need good weather. So every day was great weather. you're seeing these mountains in like bright blue skies. It's like 22 degrees, and like there's just nothing. Like there's just nothing. It doesn't beat it. You can't beat that. I don't know. And the people who are picking us up are so friendly. Like Jaime and Elizabeth, they were literally. I felt like they were our grandparents. Like they were giving us hugs and kisses. And
That's really sweet. Did
Yeah.
you like get to, I don't know, like spend time with them outside of just getting picked up, or
we were going to. So the plan was to have lunch with them, but then some other guy, Leo, oh, he was like like a symbolic figure of the trip, Leo, because he stopped in front of us and waved our car down, and he's like, I'm on a massive drive south and I want company. Like he was waiting for hitchhikers. And
I've
so where
never
was
seen that. So
He's
it's
like
like
a
I've seen
reverse
hitchhikers.
hitchhiker.
It's like, I want get out of that ute. I want you in my car.
He's looking at these.
He's just punching on.
Yeah. He's looking at
Oh,
like
that's
4
great.
blokes in the back of the ute and it's like, come. And then like we're in the back of the ute and like, mind you, at this time, like 10 minutes later, it starts raining and actually gets cold. But now we've jumped inside the ute, so it was the perfect switch. It's like this is life in Patagonia. Like, anyways. So we jump inside the back of the ute. They're chatting to Leo. I'm taking off the jet lag. I like having snoozes. Like, it's great. And then, yeah, we're just going through this beautiful landscape. Like, we get to a place called Rio Castillo, which is just like bright blue waters.
Is that the one
everywhere?
on the story?
That's the one on my story.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's another one.
Okay.
So there's bright blue
like
lakes.
glacial.
It's glacial water mixed with
Because the glacier, as far as I know, the fact of that ice moving in the glacier kind of cuts up the rocks that's under it. So there's little micro shards of rock, and they sit in the water and float, and it deflects and refracts the light in such a way that it makes it turquoise blue.
I think you're spot on. What the kayaking guide told us is that there's iridium in the water.
What's iridium?
I had no idea. I thought that was from I recall that from a video game, Borderlands. Like iridium was like the thing. So I was like, is this true? Like, I've taken it as
It might be
fact.
what the rock is.
Yeah. So apparently there's iridium in the water. That's what makes it like deep blue, so beautiful. And yeah, so we keep going down to. Our initial plan was to go south maybe 100 k's because it's you don't know how far you're going to go. In one day, we just go like 500 k's, 600 k's, like 5 to 6 hours of hitchhiking, like perfect. Just do it all, and then like from then on, it's going back up north, back up north.
So you had to hitchhike back as well, yeah.
So we hitchhiked back.
Did you go to that place that has the marble caves?
Rio Castillo?
Is that what
That
is?
is.
Okay.
That's what that is. The second biggest lake in South America, or potentially Chile.
Yeah.
Either way, it was huge. What
Did
was
you
it
kayak
called?
out or do a boat tour to those caves?
We hired a kayak
Okay.
with a guide. That was.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, I think.
Because I remember that being one of those things. If I'm thinking back to that trip,
Mm.
it was really bad weather that day when we were around there.
Yep.
It was shacked up in this like log cabin. It was a pretty sick place.
Yep.
Fuck, I haven't thought about this in ages. And then that was one of those things where if you're on a budget and long-term backpacking, you decide where am I going to spend that $85 on a tour kind of thing. And that, due to the context, wasn't one of them. So I've always wondered.
It wasn't quite that. It was, from memory, it was like 20 AUD or something. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, we went, because we were just sleeping, like really just chilling. We went later in the day, about 11 o'clock. And that's later because really you want to go at 6 o'clock before any wind or weather starts coming. So we kind of went and it was a bit windy. And I think that was okay because us young guys, like, kind of competing against each other, like, oh, I'm quicker than you. Like, look at these freaking. Yeah, so bang, like, it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun. And then not many people were there as well.
That's right. So random. There's a bus going out of that town. Yeah, we were going north. We were hitchhiking. And there was these. I can't remember how it worked. I was with a friend, Michelle, and then and then like I think all these people were like getting on their bus and like looking at us hitchhike, like, oh, you poor hitchhikers. And then we went like 10 minutes up the road and they're all on the side of the road because their bus was like fully off the road.
Yep.
It was crazy. Yeah.
There was so many hitchhikers. So many hitchhikers.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never seen that many hitchhikers on one
Wow.
road.
Sounds like a bit of a magnet for like free spirits.
It is.
That
We
part of
met
the
some
world.
cool people. We met
Yeah.
some really cool people, and I was thinking about you actually, because there was so many bike packers. Like it is like almost bike packing mecca as well.
Mm.
So you got bike. It's just
I feel like this is the last few years, like since maybe COVID. I don't know what it is. When I was there were no hitchhikers, no bikepackers. That
Yeah.
wasn't not a thing.
yeah.
And then it's like the
right.
last 5 years on. I think it's YouTube is probably a big thing.
Maybe.
There's heaps of like
Maybe.
people that kind of do the influencer thing on that. Like, have you felt that because you've been in that space maybe more? Like,
Yeah, I think it is like just by the sounds of it because of its like sheer beauty
yeah.
and like tracks.
Yeah.
But
a
who
lot
was
of people.
bikepacking 5 years ago?
Yeah, I think that it has exploded
Yeah.
as a sport.
I mean,
So,
in Europe, it probably happened more. In our neck of the woods, no.
No,
Nah.
I think yeah.
It's definitely.
I feel like it's
Bikepacking's a huge up and coming. Most of the people I
Yeah.
spoke to actually were just starting bikepacking as
Right.
well, or like not just starting, but they've had their trips in Europe and done that, and now they're
Right,
they're
that's
like
South America.
they're
so
like-
that's it.
they're like these medical professors that can afford it, or people who've just quit their job and going bikepacking for 7 months.
It's
or-
Europe / Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
South America / Central America.
Yeah.
Africa.
Hmm.
That's the
and
Africa.
chuck Central Asia in there as like a
Africa / Central Asia. That's like
Yeah.
the way things go.
Anyway, so around there, first day of the hike, like pretty intense. We're like smashing it through, and I mean, the good thing is the backpacks weren't too heavy, but look, just to sum it up, you're just hiking around. You're just hiking in some of the most beautiful places in the world. Like it just is. That's just it. It feels like maybe I don't know. I had this image of like Alaska in my head. Not when going there, like just what Alaska was, of these grand mountains, beautiful green pine hills, blue lakes. That was it. That was
That's funny.
like what happened was all these forests, like there's been lots of reforesting in the area by the owner of North Face, or like
Patagonia.
I think it was North Face actually.
I'm pretty sure it's
Weirdly,
Patagonia. That dude owns all of it. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, either
Yeah,
one of them.
yeah.
Yeah, they both do a lot of work, from my understanding, in the like reforesting space, or like the yeah, that kind of space. So anyway, so that area has been massively reforested with all these pine trees, and it's beautiful. But it is a bit of an issue now because it's sucking up lots of the natural resources and minerals and all that kind of stuff, because those type of trees take a lot more water than the natural trees that grew in that
So
space.
they're not the natural trees they're
They're
in.
no, but they just like they spread so quickly. That's why they put them there.
And then do they? I mean, I don't know if you got into it, but
Yeah.
is the idea to like get the pine trees in there, make it wild again, and then we can start like rewilding it naturally.
It's exactly what's happening.
Okay,
So
cool.
now they're trying to rewild a bit more naturally. But yeah, so from my perspective, from a more objective or bit of a tourist perspective, it was just beautiful.
It's only been
so beautiful.
It's only been a few weeks. Has it been weird or difficult, or have there been any challenge in gratitude and appreciation aspect? Like if you're seeing the same beautiful like scenes and escapes day after day after day, is it like, oh shit, this shouldn't be getting old, but it is?
That's a great question. I haven't focused on gratitude at all this trip. There's been I haven't been like, I'm so thankful to be here, like consciously.
Must have been nice to see your mates again, because it had been a long time.
2 years, 2.5
Right.
years.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I have this like, I guess, philosophy that it's always the people that you're with as opposed to the place. Mind you, Patagonia is bloody beautiful, but I think that just created a great foundation for the incredible memories that I got to share with those people now as well. So now I get to talk about. Well, I was talking to Santi, about this like just a day ago, like how incredible the memories we've just shared together are. I met his whole family at Christmas. Like, I spent Christmas, and they're a beautiful family, and we got thrown in the pool. We were all like swimming together, and then we did like Secret Santa. They got me a gift. I bought them some things from Australia, and we're like decorating gingerbread together, and there's people ranging from 6 years to 25 years old competing in this competition. There was beautiful Christmas, and that just like sums up who he kind of is, this person, this really loving, caring, family kind of man that I connect with really well. Being able to reconnect with him and then do that in adventure, fantastic.
That's so beautiful because
Fantastic.
you met each other on like this Denmark exchange. So you're in that uni vibe and like having fun, probably partying a lot and
Parting tons.
partying times. And you're both like you're a very different version of yourself. Perhaps not different, but you probably make extreme and kind of dial up parts of yourself that you like.
Yeah.
You want these new people to see, and
Yeah.
you kind of probably tone down and hide parts of you that you maybe the people at home you can't hide it from.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
like the new people in Denmark for 6 months you can.
Yeah.
So that's awesome opportunity to see
So good.
in the context of where they grew up, and then adventure. It's like double
Well,
whammy.
yeah, seeing, because I also met Rosio, who's another friend from exchange. I went and stayed at her place in Argentina, which was great. And seeing how they grew up, seeing their family, getting to know them. Like when we went to Argentina, had a typical asado, which is her mum made it for us, which is the Argentinian barbecue. Yeah, it's just beautiful to see these people, and they're just so generous and kind, and oh, it's great. Like Rosio got me this coin. There's a hat that Santi gave me for Christmas, and a Chilean jersey, of course, because you don't have a Chilean jersey when you leave there. Like you're not, yeah, you didn't come.
You didn't go.
But it was great. But for context with Santi as well, like we were best mates on exchange, and he'd never been camping before I took him camping for the first time. So I bought his
He's
sleeping
from
bag
Chile,
for him.
and he's never been camping.
He's from Chile, never been camping before. But yeah, I took him camping. Actually, I didn't just take him camping. We went free camping, like straight into it in Sweden, because in Sweden there's the no man's land. Like,
Yeah, you can
and
just
you
go
can just
anywhere.
camp anywhere. So, and he like fell in love with it. And then yeah, now we go to Patagonia, and he's kind of taken me hitchhiking, which is just like, what? Like you were so nervous hitchhiking the first time, and now you're just taking me. And I was taken aback because I'm still in this business mindset, you know. I'm like, oh, what's the plan? He's like, no, there's no plan. Don't worry about it. I'm like, whoa. But anyways, it was just so good spending that time with him, being in this beautiful region, seeing, yeah, the really sharp, incredible mountains. I don't know if you guys have ever seen photos of Cerro Castillo. It's essentially Torres del Paine, or Torres del Paine. Just like...
He's been away for 3 weeks.
Sorry. No, because I said it to Santiago. I was like, oh, it's Torres del Paine. And he's like,
Just wait till you hear
and he
him
didn't even
speak
know what I was saying.
Portuguese.
Oh, jeez. Anyways,
Can't let him off of that one.
it's essentially Torres, but like the way cheaper version, because Torres del Paine, it's like freaking $1,000 or
Yeah, so
$400 or whatever it is. But this is like $20 to enter the mountain for the day.
brilliant.
Anyways, so incredible place. Had a great time. Argentina was cool as well. We went to like a Peña.
You were just in Buenos Aires?
I was just in Buenos Aires. We
What's a peña?
a Peña is this, essentially it's, how do I describe it? It's not a party or a disco. It's the step before that. People come and play guitar and just sit down and play folklore music,
It's like
from what I understand it.
like an open mic kind of deal.
Yeah, like, oh, well, there was like some bloke that just was open mic. He chose that for himself, who just started playing guitar with us and singing folklore songs. And then we started singing the songs with him. But really, it's these people that just come sit on like your table and just start playing music.
Yeah.
And everyone's singing and clapping, like clap to the beat. And we're just like, it's this beautiful vibe. It's incredible. I'm like, why is this? Like, culture is incredible. Melbourne shit, like, in comparison to that.
Right. And Argentina, specifically those guitar kind of
Yeah.
folky, ballady, national songs, Argentina is just the homeland of that. It always reminds me of the country US, like the South.
Yeah. Yep.
but in Spanish.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and it's not got that Christian conservatism root. It's got this kind of, Latin.
Yeah, this Latin sensual fun.
But there's a lot of that in Guatemala. Like when we go to Guatemala, you might remember the Iguanas open mic. And a few of the locals who live in that town are Argentinian, and they'll get into that stuff.
Oh, they'll start playing the folk.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Because they all know the words, and
Yeah.
it's like us singing the not even national anthem, because no one even knows the words
I
of
was
that.
thinking about this, this
Multi Matilda is what we've got.
these people come play guitar, everyone's singing it. We just don't have those songs that everyone sings, gets around, shares. Doesn't matter who you are, just starts clapping, dancing.
That's why I love
Yeah,
I love the song I Am Australian,
because everyone knows it.
Yeah, everyone knows it. Because that's the only even close equivalent we've got. And
I mean, the only other place I've quarter felt that in Australia is when the Matildas were playing, and then you'd sing the classic Matildas song, like Waltzing Matilda and all that stuff. Anyways, Argentina, incredible place. It was great just having like bucket loads of empanadas and asado. I think the asado was just incredible. Some of the meat was a bit odd
because they have the organs and shit going on.
Everything was cooked.
Yeah.
At points, I didn't really know what I was eating. They were trying to describe it, and I was like, sure.
In Spanish?
Yeah. It's Rocio speaks good English, but when it's certain parts, it's like, well, I don't really know what that is in English. So it's like,
yeah.
I'm like, throat? Sure. But throat, and they're like, oh, corazón. Okay, so throat around the heart.
Yeah.
I know what that is, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so I had the throat around the heart.
Yeah, good.
That was
aorta.
That was not good. It was so chewy.
Aorta.
I think aorta.
That's the big vein or artery.
It probably is.
Yeah.
It probably is. My biology's no good.
Mm.
But yeah, everything else other than that was just so good.
Mm. There are people up in the jungle. So the other side of this camera is this crazy, Rio's version of Uluru Mountain. And we are right on the edge of it, and it's just basalt rock. I think it's basalt with, jungle. Mm. It looks pretty impenetrable, but we just heard a few child screams.
Yeah. And it's sounding more jungly as well as it's getting later in the day, insects and...
Yeah.
That's true. Is that a cashew? I think that's a cashew tree.
Oh, mate, I back you in.
Nah.
Look at these little beam things.
Yeah, it's the same colour, but it's not cashew. Yeah.
Either way.
And stuff around here, right?
Life's been good.
Life's
been good. And now, I was thinking about the transition of the trip. Because even though, hitchhiking Territory Australia might seem adventurous, it was a massive adventure, loved it. But I was with Chileans who spoke fluent Spanish. I felt like everything was delegated. I was just the passenger princess. Even in Argentina, passenger princess. Now we're all fighting
with these Muppets.
With these Muppets in Brazil and potentially Venezuela and Guyana.
Well, Guyana speaks English.
Yeah,
we're gonna be like locals.
Yeah, we're all. I feel like we're all gasping for the same bit of air. So with our combined broken Spanish, I mean, you've got pretty good broken. You've got Spanish, actually, with our broken Spanish, I guess.
Spanish with a broken accent.
Spanish with a broken accent. I've got Spanish with the actual accent.
Yeah.
So
you got broken Spanish with the accent.
Yeah, and that's
Even
actually
that's
something.
only going to go so far.
Yeah.
That's been cooking me a little bit because I'd speak and then someone would I was like, no, poquito special. I'm just going to Australianize my accent because this is not going well for me. Anyways. So now we're keen for this adventurous.
I have no idea what the next few weeks is going to be. I know what Guatemala is.
Yeah.
It's 3 weeks in the future, and I know what's going to happen there. And it's going to be the best of times.
Yeah.
It's now till then. What's going on in Guyana?
Yeah.
That's the mystery, right?
How are we going to navigate Venezuela? I have no idea.
Even rural Brazil is pretty mysterious.
Yeah, there's so little. Even the go-to things, which is weird YouTube channels and Reddit and stuff, has so little information.
It's not immersive either. It's no substitute getting these tidbits of information to getting into a place that's so different to where you spend all your time.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I spoke to one person who knew someone that went to Ghana. What?
who knew someone.
Yeah.
Because you've been like seeing this Guyanese girl who's never even gone there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's never been. She's never been. So,
Even Guyanese people
yeah,
have
even Guyanese people don't go to Guyana. She's like, I want to go to Guyana, but my grandmother says don't go. So, and she was from there. So, yeah, yeah, it was. I never really thought about that, actually. So, I met one person on my travels who knew someone that went to Ghana. Her only word of advice is change your travel plan. Don't go.
We've got like 2 full weeks scheduled.
Yeah. But I think that all my travels, which have ever come before me, is people give wild reviews of a place, and generally it's better than the reviews they've given if it's not some massive touristic site.
It's simply expectation versus reality.
Yeah.
If your expectation on one plane of aspect of life and whatever is here, and the reality is down here, you're gonna have a shit time.
Yeah.
It's reverse. I personally have expectation that we'll just be eating rice and beans for 2 weeks and sleeping on the floor with maybe a mosquito net if we're lucky. That's my
Do you have a
expectation.
mosquito net?
No.
Did you bring a mosquito net?
Yeah, I got.
I didn't fucking bring one.
No, that's one of our errands.
Yeah, one of the errands to run.
Yeah.
Now, if there's
Yeah.
anything more than that, like I'm expecting a country of just nothingness.
Mm.
Like, it might be just a 2-week bloody Vipassana.
But now that we're in Brazil, like nothingness, maybe, but I have this feeling it's just going to be beautiful.
Mm.
Like landscapes, jungle. I mean, I don't know how far Guyana is from jungle.
No, the whole thing's
I think
jungle.
It is a jungle.
They only built the road to the border in 2015, you said?
Yeah, that's right.
Because it was impenetrable jungle.
Right.
Well, the only other means of transport into like some of these like deep inland
Yeah.
areas, which are like part of the Amazon basin, was by like riverboat. And when I say riverboat, like apparently they're like really like skinny boats, and they'd have to
The long,
like
skinny one.
yeah.
Yeah, I went on
And-
them in Ecuador.
Well, yeah, go on.
Yeah. Oh, no, I remember when I was getting out of the Amazon village, I was in an Ecuador context. I was like 18 on a work away, and it was 500 k's from the nearest road.
Yeah.
Like, flew in. And then I decided, somewhat sillily, but I still back it, to like, we were super close to the border with Peru,
Yeah.
only about 20 k's away,
Mm.
but there's no official border. So, you're getting your stamps and stuff. That just wasn't
Yeah.
on this random place in the river.
Wait,
right?
Peru from?
So I was in Ecuador,
Ecuador?
and then Peru is the next
Peru?
country south.
Yeah, yeah.
The only place you can get your stamped was on the highway, like the main, Pan American highway.
Yeah, yeah.
But that would involve me doing like a 3-day kayak, like canoe, or the flight that I took in there, and then like a bloody 8 to 10 hour bus out to the highway, and then I'm in Peru. It's like, mate, I'm only 20 k's from the border. Boys, just get me across. So like the local tribesmen that I've been with,
Yeah.
were like, okay.
Sure.
So then we got in the canoe and we were motoring down the river, half the day.
Mm.
And on the Ecuador side, there actually was a little war on this Ecuador-Peru border in the Amazon in the 70s or something. I don't know why. Anyway,
Yeah.
some oil or some shit probably. And so there was a military guard post, and some like guys came down in like camo trackies.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, they were like, yeah, we're dropping the gringo off and then we'll come back. And they're like, yeah, fucking whatever.
Really?
And then on the Peruvian side, it was a lot bigger deal. I was like a full, not a general, but like a commander dude, and they had trenches and shit. I was like, oh, okay. And
Wow.
they didn't really know what was going on,
Yeah.
because there was these Ecuadorians who didn't have passports or anything, the
Yeah.
Amazonians. And they're like, no, we're going back home tonight. And he's like, oh, okay. We're just dropping him off at the first village. He's like, okay, what's he doing then? He's like, oh yeah, he's got a passport, he's going in. And they looked him up. They didn't.
Mm.
I don't want to sound obtuse and say like they didn't know what a passport was, but like they were kind of just looking at it like, what are we doing with this? We're just soldiers hanging out in the fucking camp. So I kind of had in my head like a story of, she'll be right. I'll just go to the embassy in Lima when I eventually get there and just get the stamp, and that's how.
Oh, you can do that.
No.
Okay, I was about to say, like, that's not how this works, is it?
I was telling myself that's how it works. And so
The way you said that, you just know this is going to end up like something's going to go wrong.
I'm glad I'm giving myself the opportunity to tell this story. But
Yeah.
So I rock up to the first town in Peru,
Yeah.
and it is just like Dodge Central. You're in the middle. Like, there's no roads. Like, there's like still hundreds of kilometers from the nearest road.
Yeah.
It is just like quite obviously mining town on the edge of the river. There's like
Yeah.
a bulldozer building a street in the middle of like just the dodgiest looking characters going around, like Wild West equivalent.
Mm.
And I'm going around town, and the indigenous guys that I've been living with hooked me up with this boat driver, and he was running a boat that was going to go overnight to this town. I was like a few hundred k's down the river, and it was going to spend like 26 hours or something getting there.
Yeah.
So I bought that, but then it left at like 5 a.m. the next day. So I know it's like, I don't even know, this is so long ago, but I was just rolling around town.
Yeah.
We got lunch at some point, and then they went home and back in Ecuador before it got too dark. And I remember like watching a movie at I think the boat driver's house, because he was going to let me sleep on the boat. But like beforehand, like I had dinner at his house, and like I was just like with his family in this like shack in the jungle, watching some random movie in Spanish. Jeez, it's testing my memory. And then like, yeah, there was just this, as you say, skinny, like super skinny, like 2 seats, and there were seats like this, just strapped to the floor of the boat.
Yeah.
But like literally like a seat like this with a wire. But it's super long. It's like 10, 15 meters long.
Right.
And they have like, it's similar to the lanches on Lake Atitlan. They have like roll down things, and which you'll see in a few weeks. And I remember sleeping on that and just getting fucked by mosquitoes all night.
That's great.
Yeah. And then it was the next like 36 to 48 hours was just on these boats.
Mm.
I don't remember much.
Yeah.
I remember like there would always be other boats that were overpacked with luggage that would get stopped on mud banks, and you'd see like all these blokes just popping out into the river, just like moving them along. And there was the one river dolphin we saw, and we rock up to like the most random towns, but they kind of slowly got bigger and bigger, because the one I'd come from was 40 people in the middle of nowhere, and then it got to like, okay, this is obviously 100 or a few hundred here, maybe, oh shit, this is 2,000 people. Like, still no roads. Another night on the river in the boat, and then finally got to that was the thought I had though. Imagine the Spanish. I was thinking about the Spanish, like going through the Amazon, and this is maybe how we'll feel at some point. The closest I've got since was when we were in Rio Dulce on that kayak. And that was probably the closest I felt like, oh, we're in the middle of nowhere here. Even though we're about 20 k's away from. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
lunch
I
that we had in the lily
yeah.
pads? And it's like, imagine you're just a Spanish cunt.
Yeah.
Like conquistador, and you love him or hate him. But like, you are just so far away from anything you know and the culture you've come from.
Yeah.
Ludicrous place to just be and end up. And, easier for me because I have my offline maps and I kind of know I'm going to go somewhere. But it was just, I was just having those kind of thoughts. And then eventually rocked up to the town on the edge of a highway, sat in a cafe for 12 hours just eating chicken sandwiches and getting on free Wi-Fi for the first time in 6 weeks. And it was immense. I ended up having to bribe my way to the border on the next bulldog.
Yep.
That's another
Peru
story.
too.
Bolivia, yeah.
Beautiful.
But we don't have to go
That
there.
is another story.
Yeah, that was a good one. Anyway, I don't know how we got there from skinny clothes.
I don't know how we got there.
Thanks
either.
for letting me
Boats?
yarn on that one. Yeah.
Boats. Well, yeah, I've heard a similar thing about Guyana, and these skinny boats are the only way you can get into the deep reaches of the country. And same thing, people have to hop out of the boat to push it over
That was
rapids, because these rivers still have like rocks that haven't been like
Yeah, rapids is interesting. There were no rapids. What there was like micro storms, like micro weather.
Okay.
So there's like, it'll be sunny, and then you'll have, it looks like 100 meter by 100 meter storm. Like it's just suddenly like torrential rain, crazy wind. It pushed us onto the riverbank.
That's
And
bizarre.
the guys are like holding the boat off from sinking, essentially. And then like a minute later, you're done.
What?
Like, and then you see on the other side of the river or something, or down on the lightning, and there's like boats like, but you're like chilling.
Wow.
That's
It was
freaky.
really weird and freaky.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wonder if there'll be a bit of that.
But how, like, for context, how big is this river? Like, wide? Like, it's a wide
Where I
river.
was?
Yeah, massive.
Nah, like it just depends. As I got further down, it got wider to maybe a few hundred meters max.
Really?
Yeah,
So you're getting waves with this microstorm on the few.
but a few hundred meters wide is pretty big.
It's what? It's
The Amazon gets like 50 k's wide, I think, in Brazil.
wow.
Like at some parts. So that might be absolute bullshit, but I'm pretty sure it's
No, I think you're right.
yeah, that deep.
Yeah, I
think
took
you're right.
it as fact.
No, Guyana's
It sounded like it.
Guyana's
Didn't
going to be
question
less though. Yeah, it might. I'm keen to see how it plays out.
Yeah. On that note of
By the
what you
way.
were saying before about like Spanish explorers and stuff, I was listening to a podcast about Christopher Columbus on the flight over,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, he fucking thought he was in like China when he was like on the coast of South America. So compared to you with your
India,
offline
right?
maps, like yeah,
Right.
it was
Yeah, he's.
Well, we're going to the.
bushwhacked.
Yeah.
We're going to be on the edge of the Orinoco Basin.
Yeah.
When we're in Roraima, and that is supposedly where El Dorado is.
Cool.
Oh,
Super cool.
The amount of kind of that vibe stories that have gone on looking for
Yeah.
that place. But
The
God knows
hunt for El Dorado.
I think there was a plane, like some like early aviator crashed on top of one of the tepuis, whether it was Roraima or maybe one of the other ones. But yeah,
Oh,
Enlighten me.
kind
What Tepui is that a statue
the
of some
table.
sort?
Oh,
top
yeah.
mountain type
yeah,
thing.
tepui is like the tabletop mountain. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of them around there. So the one you've seen the photos of where we're going, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Roraima.
yeah.
There's a lot of that's the biggest one in the region.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of that kind of thing all through the southern part of
Right,
Venezuela.
Really flat, just
yeah,
Yeah.
like a table.
super
Hence
cool.
the name.
So excited for that. I've been telling a lot of people, they're like, oh, what are you doing in your travels? You know, where are you going? I'm like, yeah.
Seen the movie Up?
Chile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally
Yeah, that's
Santiago, Argentina, Buenos Aires, and then we go to Rio de Janeiro for New Year's. Like, oh my God, that's going to be incredible. And then Venezuela. No. They're like, what? Why you go to Venezuela? Oh, yeah, for Mount Roraima. For what? What is Mount Roraima? Oh, have you seen the movie Up? Yeah, I remember I watched it when I was a kid. Like, yeah, we're going to that mountain. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds good. I'm like,
It's over,
I'm
yeah.
getting no love. Getting
I don't
zero.
know. I don't know if it's from like I've just had that mountain in my mind implanted as like middle of nowhere, lost city. Arthur Conan Doyle, Lost City or something.
nah, that or
Lost
yeah,
World.
Lost World. I haven't actually read that or anything, so
No,
I don't know what
neither.
it's about. But
Either way, as a kid, watching Up,
Yeah.
is that not like
yeah,
peak fantasy? Like being there.
That's where dinosaurs still exist.
Waterfalls. Wow. Let's go. Like, we are on the hunt for dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And
It's like Congo rainforest
El Dorado.
and Roraima. You know, like
Yep.
100%.
Yeah.
And I was speaking of Guyana. I was showing Grandma on the map on Google Maps.
Yeah.
She was like, "Where are you going again?"
No one knows Guyana. I've spoken to people in South America who've not known what Guyana is.
That's
It's like,
cool.
I'm like, come
That's
on.
crazy.
Like, in Australia, fair enough.
Yeah.
In South America,
Yeah, there's
You
only
gotta-
13 countries on this continent.
yeah, you gotta know.
So I'm like,
This is probably like Australians not knowing where, like
fucking Solomon Islands or something.
Solomon Islands, yeah,
Yeah.
Timor Leste,
Yeah.
like
True.
Brunei,
Yeah, Brunei.
yeah.
But it's like, it's small, but it's still a decent chunk. It's not the time. It's there.
It's
I
smaller
think
than
it's
important,
disconnected from like
It's more Caribbean than South
Yeah.
American.
Fair enough.
So you know how you're on like Google Maps
Mhm.
and there's capital cities are big, but then you kind of at that right zoom in where you can see all these other towns spotted.
Mhm.
Which is, I was like, yeah, look, Grandma, there's like a few of these towns. Let's zoom in on one, and it's literally like 4 houses, and it's made it to have its name. Like you zoom down the whole country, and you can only see like a few dozen names of things, but those names are only. I think there's about. I don't want to get these numbers are going to be so wrong, but forgive. I think there's a few 100,000 people in the country, like 500,000,
From
It's
my understanding,
830.
830,000.
Oh man, you've done your
I was
homework,
watching.
mate.
I was watching the doco you guys posted in the
Okay,
chat
perfect.
today.
Nice.
Yeah, okay, it's just
Yeah.
fresh. I'm pretty sure it's like 90% live on the coast and most of them on Georgetown.
Everyone's in Georgetown.
Yeah.
Like the rest is jungle.
Yeah.
It's just a jungle.
So it might be
Guyana
50,000 spread out.
Guyana is like the equivalent of Australia. Australia's desert and then coast.
Mm.
Instead of their desert, they've just got jungle
Yeah.
and then
Well, that's the same as
coast.
Brazil, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brazil and Australia are very similar, kind of,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, almost same size and everything. That's gonna be good. I want to hear some TED stories.
Yeah.
So last time we got into.
Let me crack open a beer. Can I
Okay.
pass anyone else one?
Perfect. No, I'm still going.
I reckon I'm on to the second too. Obrigado. Some may say.
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Yeah. It's
I've got to learn how to say you're welcome.
Denasha.
You're welcome. No, it's
Denasha.
Is it parabens?
Oh, that's congratulations, I think.
Oh.
Oh, have you done some Duolingo?
No, that's like the one word I know.
I think it might also be, but I'm not. No, Jindaja. Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah.
Denaja. But it's a D. Does that turn into je?
I think it usually does, right? Jindaja.
Do you reckon there's another house up the hill? Or that's just like people fucking around in the jungle.
I don't know how they'd get one.
I honestly don't know. We can't access that from here.
No. Have you seen this light? This light bulb? Waterproof by half a Coke bottle.
Okay, context, there's a light bulb. Just with the top of a Coke bottle around it to make sure it's waterproof.
You have to spin the camera around.
Maybe that's not waterproof, that's ambience.
Yeah.
It's ambience.
Yeah, someone might be listening to this. I mean, if anyone's got to this episode, like this far deep into this episode, fucking get on YouTube already. But yeah, we're sitting on a pretty rough and tumble favela rooftop. It is gorgeous, this city, though. Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were saying on the Uber ride, Tim and I together, it's kind of like third world Sydney.
With mountains.
Okay.
Don't you think so?
Bit of creative license.
Bays and stuff, and it's
like a bit surfy.
Oh, as in like there's all these like little offshoots of
natural
water and
beauty
natural
and-
Yeah.
Yeah. The rough and tumble of the city.
Hustle bustle.
Definitely gets ugly as soon as you get away from the water. Yeah.
So that's Ipanema.
Ipanema? No, Copacabana. Where?
Oh, Copacabana.
That's just there, and then I think Ipanema's must be further around either way.
I think, Ipanema's that way.
Okay.
And then San Cristobal.
It's just there, like across the river.
So-
Yeah. Ooh, what's that? Is that a monkey? I think it is.
Where? Oh, that tree. Yeah.
Really?
Good spot.
Yeah. That's fully a monkey. Just in there. Look, you can see it. Oh no, it's a bird. It's a Rio bird.
A macaw.
Not quite. It's some parrot.
Still there?
Yeah, see this green parrot right in there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sick.
Great spot.
Definitely not a monkey though.
That was wishful.
Yeah.
Oh, where did I see monkeys? Oh no, that was when I went to India.
Oh dear.
This man gets around.
Yeah. So, I was working because I went to India for work. Sorry, we'll get to you in a sec. Sorry.
No, we won't, but that's all right. That's all right.
And I
This
was
is our podcast.
I totally forgot there was like monkeys just roaming around in India, in the middle of India. And I'm like, I just go out for a piss break and I hear bang, 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 bang. And I'm like, what is going on? Is someone like running on the roof, this plastic roof? And I just see like two feet and a hand and like a tail and nuts just like on the roof. Like, oh, okay.
Your average.
There's
No.
No. Keep that at bay. Keep that.
Don't
Yeah.
want that on the internet.
Sorry. So, great segue into Ted's stories. What monkeys have you been coming across?
He's got prawns.
What
No,
prawns?
prawns, Jesus. Do we want to talk about that?
I want to hear this story.
Alright.
I haven't heard this story for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. The story that Tim's eagerly alluding to occurred in Laos. I was in like a pretty rural region, in like a tributary of the Mekong River. There's a bunch of towns that you can only access by boat, similar boats to what we were talking about before, the long, skinny ones. And during the course of my visit to some of these towns, I didn't shower, but I did have a hygiene routine. I know that's pretty standard, and don't smell me now.
How do you say I didn't shower and then back that up with I had a hygiene routine?
Well, this is
Wait,
kind of this is a philosophy of mine.
Okay.
If
What
you,
every girl wants to hear.
yeah. If you bathed in a body of water, that's as good as a shower. It doesn't matter whether it comes out of
you're
it.
swimming.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter whether it comes out of a tap or whether it flows off the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you using soap when you're bathing?
No. But
You're halfway there.
in a shower at the best of times as well. So,
Yeah.
You go in the shower and don't use
That
soap?
clicked for me.
I was waiting. I was surprised at that
I
sign.
don't think I've ever gone.
So wait. So
No, that's only half true. That's a
so
bit of, there's a
we're in
bit
the heart of
there's a bit
Melbourne. Take us here. We're in the heart of Melbourne, and you don't use soap in your.
Probably like maybe 50% of the time. 2/3.
What are you?
What's
doing
the point
in
of
the
getting in
shower?
the shower?
I just
like
have a
feeling.
rinse.
Yeah, but then having a rinse in the tropics makes all the sense.
Sorry, that's.
Because you're just trying to cool down, but like.
I kind of. No.
No, you don't have to agree.
I don't think that's a philosophy. I don't.
Yeah.
So what I do, because I'll always, and I'm definitely not the most hygienic person, and definitely not the best smelling, but I will always use soap in the shower, but I'll go to the extent of I can't be fucking in the shower for all sorts of reasons, but I recognise that I need to not stink, so I'll do the sink shower, where I water this armpits,
Yeah.
and then soap them up, and then water them, and then towel that off, and do that the other armpit.
What?
Because that
Honestly,
it's Pareto effect. It gets 80% of the effect of the shower with soap.
Yeah.
Right? I would argue that 1 minute process, not getting all your body wet, but with soaping and watering your armpits, is way more effective than getting the full shower, getting everything wet and annoying, but not using soap. That doesn't make sense to me at all.
Look, I don't do either of these things. I think I'm a part of the normal. I just have a shower once a day. Tend to use soap.
Yeah.
And as in, I use soap every time just to clean that one up. Sorry, Ted.
Yeah.
Hygiene routine. Yeah.
all right.
Take
So
us back.
so I was swimming in Laos. I was in this spot. I was just swimming in the river every day.
Yeah.
That was my cleanliness routine. And yeah, then I was heading back to civilization after maybe like 4 or 5 days, and went to go to the toilet at just like a bus stop on the side of the road, and saw that I had a fucking little shrimp on my dick.
What? Wait. I don't know if this is the question you asked, placement. Where is this located on shaft?
For the Americans, he's not circumcised.
Okay. Is this hiding inside?
Yeah, it's found a nice cozy spot behind the foreskin.
A prawn! Wait, sorry.
Like a microscopic prawn.
I think I recall you telling me this story as well, actually. Yeah. This is great.
I can't believe this is fucking immortalized on the podcast.
Yeah.
I can't wait to clip that shit.
Wait, sorry. Okay. Shrimp is snuggled. It's found its way inside the cozy burrows.
I mean, I don't know the exact sequence of events, but I've just found it.
So, if you take yourself back in kind of detective work,
Yeah.
how long potentially could it have been there?
Probably 4 days.
Have you got? I don't want to ask you more questions. Oh, that's great. Oh. Yeah. Just the image of a little shrimp, white and red, just plucking away at the inners of your.
We're just living on smegma.
Oh,
Jesus.
you have to link this, but Marcus,
Took a photo.
good mate. No, not a photo. Definitely no photos are taken.
Jeez.
But he made a song about it. Yeah.
Where does Marcus make songs?
Wait.
Oh yeah,
That's great.
called
I'm so glad.
it's
Wow.
it's to the tune of somebody that I used to know. and I think it's called Flick.
There you go.
So yeah, it's like
Can you?
didn't have to flick me off. No, that's as I said. You have to link it. That's as much as I can recall. But
Okay. So you had a buddy for 4 days. And then,
Oh my god.
So what happens? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Flick him
where
off.
the story ends. Flick him,
Flicked it off.
Didn't have to.
flick him off, and maybe he gets flushed back into the Mekong and gets another chance.
So is it because like
Yeah, well.
again,
Wow.
this might be getting way too fucking much information, but like every time I'm in the shower, I am cleaning under the foreskin.
Mm.
But because you were bathing, you know, not in the shower, you didn't really have the opportunity to be fully naked or necessarily like go in the full process. Is that why?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Wow. Experience. I don't want to ask you
For
any
me,
more
or the
questions,
for me or the prawn.
Yeah, life in the prawn? Right? What's it thinking? It's like, I found my heaven. Like, this is incredible. Like, it's
It's
just
probably
stuff.
just like warm. Like,
Do you reckon he was just like
Succulent.
trapped? Do you reckon he could actually move though? Like he maybe got himself in there like a valve. Like he got himself in there. He's like,
yeah. I'm in here now.
I'm stuck.
these are real.
Was it alive?
Not sure.
Okay.
Mm. He
Okay.
could've died in there.
Another one last question.
Dying in Ted's foreskin.
How big is this for context? Like, if you're gonna,
Oh jeez.
Like,
I'm imagining like the
Like a king
size
prawn.
size of like a really small ball bearing. Does that sound?
oh yeah,
Oh,
like
Like it's
tiny.
it's tiny. It's really really small.
Like a small ball bearing as well.
Yeah, like maybe like like an uncracked peppercorn or something. Like that.
Yeah, peppercorn. Okay.
and how do you distinguish that this is a prawn? Like, can you see the shape of it? And like-
Yeah, it's like there's like
yeah.
looks like some legs and
Plankton.
it's like
Fuck.
curled up like a little slater or
Oh Jesus.
something.
It's either a baby prawn, maybe it's plankton.
Yeah, I mean
Plankton's-
prawn is just like
Yeah, but in the river, I guess it's probably just a baby prawn. Yeah.
But plankton's probably microscopic. You
No,
can't.
yeah, I think
Can you say that?
I think you can.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm thinking
And-
crusty crab like.
and we can change it from a
Crusty Ted.
prawn to an undefined organism.
No,
but-
I like
yeah.
prawn a lot.
Mm.
Yeah. What else have we got for you, Ted? You had a few stories banked up. There's one. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fuck. I can't believe we didn't get into this last time because this is like Trag, our good friend of the pod. He'll come on at some point. He said this is like the. Yeah, I don't even know if you've heard this story, Zach.
I don't know who Trag is. I've never heard that name.
No, that's all right.
Well, actually, you did meet him
Wait,
very
what?
briefly. Very briefly. No,
Oh,
it's-
he's the guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
when we were walking to that salsa class that we never made it to.
Oh,
in the
that
city.
guy.
Yeah,
Random.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he seemed like a decent unit.
Yeah, he's a great bloke. I rode with him in like year 12 and stuff, and
Rode with him like a bike.
Nah, really.
Oh, rode.
Toxic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and he came to Marcus' party.
Okay, nice.
the other day.
Nice.
But he was saying, I can't believe you didn't talk to Ted about the Fawkner Park experience because that is like to him, and I agree, so like typical Ted.
Right.
Just really sums him up.
Experience.
So please,
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
as full context, like go way back.
I want to preface this story because I think it has a
going
good.
to check actually. that
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
Still recording before we start. We're going strong. Please.
No, I think it fits into a broader theme of being like a yes man.
Yeah.
And in some situations, it works well for me. I think the majority of situations that works well, which this Fawkner Park story is an example of. But I'd like to tell as well a counter story to that, which is where it has worked against me as well.
Okay.
But yeah, basically this story is we're like about 15, 16, something like that.
Vicinity.
And a bit of a like teenage delinquent stage. Just
As
like
we discussed at the start of last
Yeah.
pod, like that's how we probably weren't cool enough to be in a party every weekend.
Yeah.
right? So instead we climb cranes and go down stormwater drains and go on construction sites and shit like that.
And so I think this
Put it bluntly on ourselves.
yeah, pretty much. And this was going to be another one of those nights that this story happened. We'd congregated at our mate Nick Kalikutis, also a friend of the pod, his house.
Yeah, but this uniquely, because it was usually just a kind of maybe a smaller group on a bit of a mission, like 3, max 4 kind of people. Where this, for whatever reason, there was a weekend or something, had become a bit of a like, maybe there was going to be a few drinks involved. I think there was maybe 6 or 7. Like it was a bit of a bigger thing than usual.
Yeah, I think it was building up for something. Just not what we expected. And we didn't make it very far. We left Nick's house, which is like right next to this park where the story takes place.
So we'd been scouting out construction sites. I don't know if you remember this, around Chapel Street.
Okay.
For those familiar with Melbourne.
At what age? Sorry, where are we
15,
at? We're
16,
15,
yeah,
16.
something like this. It was probably 15, yeah. Because it was before, I think, yeah. So 15. Now around the suburbs of Prawn, Windsor, there's a lot of like, random shit to explore.
Yeah.
And then Fawkner Park, huge park.
Yeah.
5 blocks or whatever. Nick lives right in the middle, but on the opposite side of that. So we kind of meet at Nick's, and then at some point we'll walk through Fawkner Park to get to those suburbs where we can start exploring.
And I think we'd been waiting for nightfall as well. Yeah,
Random people yelling.
We'd been waiting for nightfall to go and get up to some of this mischief. And yeah, left the house, made it to the park, start walking like 100 meters in, and we just get approached almost immediately by like some pretty seedy looking characters.
Yeah. Also, there's multiple.
Many.
Yeah, and we were kind of like Tim said, we had a bit of a big group ourselves, and we were kind of sprawled across like maybe like a couple 100 meters.
Trag and I had seen these sketchy looking people approach and just kind of anticipated there's some trouble. So we kind of we'll just kind of go forward and on. Like we kind of walked past them, but just us two.
Yep.
So I think, Nick was out the back tying his shoe. We weren't like, huddled against the enemy. Like it was like Trag and I were walking ahead and kind of just walk past them.
Yeah,
and
as
on.
you do, like split groups.
Right.
Yeah, go past.
There's Perry, our friend, who was kind of stuck in the middle. Ted and Felix who play a crucial role in like kind of maybe more the centre, and then Nick out the back. So that's the setup. And then these maybe 5 of them coming.
Okay. So Ted's in the centre on his own.
No, with Felix.
Oh, with Felix.
Who's been on the pod.
Friend of the pod.
And yeah, I think like they're approaching us, and we kind of just try to like avoid eye contact with them.
Yeah.
Put our heads down. But they obviously like are interested in us.
Keen for a chat.
Yeah, just a chat. And I think like 2 guys came up to Felix and I. And I remember them being, or at least one of them being pretty big as well. So being like just off the bat, like really intimidated.
Yeah.
And they like started talking to us. I'm trying to remember what they said. Maybe that doesn't matter so much. But I remember Felix like pulled out his phone to kind of like look at his phone and not have to pay attention to them, and one of them like snatched it out of his hands.
Right.
And it was like, oh shit, like we're in strife here.
Yeah.
And yeah, like they didn't, like it seemed weird from the start. They didn't really ask me for anything. And I was just kind of frozen there, standing like waiting for something bad to happen. Like probably thinking like maybe it would be a good point to run away here.
Yeah.
But a mixture of being like crippled by fear and also thinking like maybe running away will just aggravate things.
Yeah, and phones, like all these thoughts are going through your head as phone has been snatched.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it is quite like this is quite a long time ago as well. This is like
Okay.
probably like 8 years.
We're in story
or
mode.
something.
It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
is this sounding aligned with the
No,
version of the story?
brilliant. And again, Trag and I had, not to our credit, but not to our discredit of running away. Like, we just, these are dodgy drunk. I remember thinking these are drunk dudes. Ted's probably more inclined to, have a chat and interact than I am. I really can't be stuffed.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you're 16. You've made the decision. Like, this is not who I want to be interacting with.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're walking down any street anywhere,
Yeah.
and you see that guy who looks like you don't want an interaction, but
Okay.
there's a little chance for whatever reason that there might be one.
Yeah.
And usually it's just yeah, good mate, like, and then they really pull you in and you're like,
Yeah.
You maybe have to shake his hand,
Yeah.
and then you go off and you keep to your business. And because of the nature of the group and the nature of the spread out, I have the opportunity here to just like keep on going.
Yeah.
And just like let the back deal with that if they want to.
But Ted's had the brilliant opportunity of having or seeing Felix have his phone
Yeah,
ripped out of his hands. Yeah.
Little did we know the stakes were a bit higher in the situation than a few drunks.
So where do we go?
I think at this point, like, Felix started backing off, which was like fair enough. And I just kept standing there, going like, pretty much like waiting for something bad to happen. And then maybe they started asking me some questions about like what we were planning on doing that night, and so I just was honest, like, planning on going into some construction sites. Like,
I think crucial context just to paint this picture is that we're not on Brunswick Street or Chapel Street with the drunk. We're in the middle of a dark park and there's no one else around.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a bit scary. And I think one other detail that might have worked in my favor as well. I think I was wearing like just some pretty like nondescript like t-shirt, trackies and runners, just like looking like your real average kid.
NPC mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
And I think Felix might have been wearing like some pretty like flashy like sneakers.
We were around that age where sneakers mattered, like things like this.
Like a pretty swish, like kind of spray jacket kind of thing, and maybe like as well.
Trying to be lads.
Yeah, bit. Yeah, I think Felix was dressed a bit laddie compared to me, whereas I just looked like some kid who went to kick the footy with his dad at the park, got lost or something. But yeah, basically they like. I think one of them started like really moving towards Felix, and he ran off.
Yeah,
it's like fair enough. They've stolen his phone.
Oh, so they're stolen his phone. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. And then I just kept standing there, and then I think then the main guy was like, "Oh, like, you know what? Mad respect, bro. Like, you stood your ground. Like, we need more people on the street like you." And I was like, "What? Fuck, like."
And one of his mates is just full chasing Felix, right?
Yeah, I can't remember if he actually chased after him, but I remember that Felix like ran back to Nick's house and got like help from the parents who were back there.
Ted cops the mad respect, bro.
And the fist bump. And the final seal of the deal was he went to fist bump me, and like part of me was like, fuck, like this is just like a moment of irrational fear, but I was like, is he just gonna like shiv me as I go and like fist bump him? But no, he just let me walk off after bumping it up, and yeah, couldn't believe it.
Wow.
So another set of eyes on this,
Yeah,
is that again we're walking straight through the middle of the park. If anyone's just watching this, but from if it's a rectangle, we're kind of coming from on the longer side, the middle of that longer side. Cutting across like the short length of the park.
Yep.
They're coming from the middle. Now in the middle of Fawkner Park, there's a big like community centre, kind of where they might run a cricket club function or some shit.
Yeah,
and we didn't realise, but that's a huge like junkies like shoot up spot.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So These guys, for whatever reason, have probably spotted us come into the park on this night and been like, "Oh, here we go, looking like a lad. Okay, let's
Yeah.
get a phone." Come out, a group of them. Again, Trag and I have kind of gone in front and kind of cut the corner on this oval. So we've then been able to see what was about, from memory, about 40 people, like kind of equally dodgy looking people, like
Right.
milling about this main central building. Our mate Perry was stuck between the 10 Felix group and way out Tim and Trag group. Perry had someone because he was trying to come to Tim, like to me and Trag. Someone intercepted him and held a knife to his chest and got his wallet off him, right?
What?
So that was probably the most hectic part of the whole night, to be honest. We kind of, I think, yeah, that's right. Me and Trag were kind of walking along, right? Thinking, oh, they're going to catch up. Nick had been tying his shoe way out the back of everything. So he just avoided everything and kind of joined us.
Yeah.
Perry joined us, but it was like shaking for understandable reasons.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you ever managed to get to us. Maybe you did. And then you said, yeah, Perry's telling us he's had a knife pointed to like on his chest.
Yeah.
Ted comes like, I just fist bumped them, but Felix got his phone stolen and has run off, like back to home.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, fuck.
So everyone's managed this terrible experience, bar Ted, who's just honestly become one of the junkies at this rate. Yeah.
Typical,
Been
right?
adopted.
And 8 years later, he's like on the Mexican freight train becoming ready.
Wow.
But the funniest part of this whole thing to me was we did a full lap around.
Yeah.
And later on, so Nick's parents, Angela, just ridiculously powerful woman. Don't know how she's, like she has that many bloody crazy Greek sons around, holding down his household. And she works at the Alfred, which is just on the edge of
the pub.
No, the Alfred Hospital.
Oh, the hospital.
Which is just on the edge of this park, and like just sees these. Basically, the junkies always there, and then one of them will overdose basically every day. So their friends will drag them into hospital, revive him.
Right.
And then he'll get sent out and go straight back to shooting. The classic thing. Okay. So she's like, "Oh yeah, I could have told you this shit." Yeah. Right, but it's a real problem. So we do a full loop, go back to the house. She's saying that stuff to us, and Felix is there, and we're taking care of, and everything's going on. Now Peter, Nick's dad, who I'm sure when Nick comes on the pod we'll talk about, is like Greek, right? He's permanently on the phone. AirPods in. He's a travel agent. So he's the travel agent for the entire Greek community of Melbourne.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
He's one of those guys who's maxed out the amount of Facebook friends you can have. I think you can only have 5,000 Facebook friends.
Really?
Yeah, there's a number where it limits it. Yeah. So he's got the maximum.
Every Greek person in Melbourne has got his contact.
Knows him. I've never met a Greek person in Melbourne who doesn't know Peter.
Okay. Peter
Kalikoudis.
Miss Kalikoudis.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And he's not a huge bodybuilder dude, but he's a big statured dude. And he got a whiff of what's going on, especially Felix's phone is the main concern here. The guys have still got it. He's like, fuck this. He storms out. Because again, just across the street to Fawkner Park, starts going off.
What?
He ends up, we didn't see this. I think Felix saw this, right? Felix was in it.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't see this.
He had
his Greek dad just running
He had
out.
80 of all the junkies and their friends, a crowd of junkies, right? And thieves and whatever, love them or hate them. But all of them around. And he's who the fuck got Felix's phone? And they're they're scared and pointing and shit. He grabs the guy who got it and slams him on the bonnet of a car.
What?
He's like, yeah, I dropped it in the grass.
What?
And he goes back to the grass and gets the phone.
What?
He just goes full, when you think of, it's movie level shit of, dad just going Hulk mode.
Yeah.
Taking on everyone because you've got that dad energy. And to be fair, the little we've all seen and kind of experienced with junkies, deep down, they're pretty vulnerable. not necessarily blaming their character, but
strong, confident character.
no, like well, by nature of being subject to that addiction, at least that version of you that is currently presently living in this world is extremely weak.
Yeah.
And you can argue till the cows are home if that's your fault or not, but like it is a weak state of being. So like this just like epic dad mode,
Yeah.
just took them all on.
Yeah.
Just took them all on, and I think the phone came back. I think they found it in the grass. I'm not too sure on what happened there. But yeah,
But the wallet was long gone. That was.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember. But details, you know.
Yeah.
I think they might have got one of them back. I think they got something back, but I would distinctly
I think there was like police reports and
full police reports, a few arrests.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was pretty.
Yeah, because this was all before. Because no, that's right. Peter rang one of his Greek mates,
Yeah.
and they both went to that crowd. That's
Okay.
right. Yeah, that
Okay.
makes it even better because he was like, "Oi, I need
I need backup.
It's like Fast and Furious. It's like we're
Yeah.
family. Like,
Yeah. Do all those triple calls. You're one of the 5,000. Get down. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and that's just like a
Yeah.
fucking,
Yeah.
that is a what's the term? I can't remember. Like, you know, one of those moments in
Peak
your
memory,
story.
core memory.
Yeah, core memory. Yeah. So your yes man definitely helped you in
Yeah.
that period. But when did it
Just
not
being
help you?
kind of passive and like, letting it happen.
Yeah.
That speaks. I feel like that speaks about your character more so, like being so centered or so calm and level-headed, like not just reacting.
Yeah,
super
well,
quickly.
it's good in some situations, and then in others where, where you need to stand up and take action.
Yeah.
It can also be like can lead to worse.
And you have come here with a cautionary
outcomes.
tale on the flip side, haven't you?
I have, which I feel
Have
like
you heard about this story?
So I saw like a beautiful parrot fly by.
a Rio.
Oh, that's a mango tree.
Oh,
I can see a Greek mango. A green
Greek
mango.
5,000 mangoes.
No, that's sick. Shame it's not in season.
No, I can't see.
this is a fucking. I know we've said it a lot, but
Yeah.
this is a beautiful spot. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
it's funny.
saying-
We have not talked about this
We're saying it
nearly
off
as much
the-
as that. Like it's
Yeah.
just.
Oh, that's what we're facing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're saying it off the pod, but like, I mean, Ted, you and I were in Australia at just in the green leafy
I'm
suburbs
gonna give you
of,
this. I'm gonna take a piss.
of like the eastern
Blasting.
whatever.
piss break.
Yeah, piss break. Yeah, go for it. So, for anyone listening, I'm just panning the camera around. Oh, the boys are pissing on the edge. That's probably interesting content, but this is the jungle we keep on banging on about. Talking about their piss streams. Exactly what you came here for. I really do wonder who listens to this. It's good fun to make, I can tell you that for free. It's a mango tree. This one. That one, and there's the mango tree. That's where the parrot was before. And this is the favela.
It's a great little like hole in the wall.
It's absolute typical. Wow, the brickwork. Gotta love it. Oh yeah, and the staircase. This is completely not audio friendly, but this is the staircase. And the bottom rungs are like fully rusted out.
Yeah.
So you really like,
Lovely stack being.
I mean,
Oh,
I hate to say it, but if you're 100 plus kegs, you are going through the stair,
I think it's Pedro.
which is,
153.
yeah,
Might
cooked.
text the guys.
I might leave you to start the turkey story. I'm going to take a piss as well.
Oh yeah.
Go for it, boys.
All right. So I guess this story is a counter to the other one of where, like where my relaxed nature and yes man mentality got the better of me. So this story was set in Istanbul,
Okay.
and I should have been warned. I was warned.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Should have, could have, did happen actually.
Yeah, there was like a poster in like the hostel that I was staying at
Yeah.
that like beware of scams, and like some of the forms that they can take.
Right.
And I think part of it was, well, I actually like beat a scam
Okay.
shortly before this incident happened. So I'd been walking down some stairs in like the kind of narrow alleyway
Yep.
neck of the woods, and some guy dropped his brush,
Yeah. Okay.
like for cleaning shoes.
Yeah.
And I picked it up and gave it back to him. He was like, "Oh, thank you so much. Like, let me shine your shoes." And I was like, "Oh, that just seems really sus. Like, he's gonna
Too good to
use
be
this as a
true.
way to like
Yeah.
charge me for shining the shoes."
Yeah.
And I was really proud of myself. I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like, I like fended off this
Spotted this
scammer.
guy. He
Like,
could have just been a nice guy.
yeah,
So when you say he dropped his shine, like shoe shiner,
yeah.
was he shining his shoes, then sees you, drops it?
No,
Like, you
he
might
was just
not have
like
seen that.
walking, and just like dropped them like right next to me.
Okay, and you seated or are you walking yourself? I'm
I was
trying to get
walking
there.
as well. Yeah.
So he knows you're behind him or whatever.
Or yeah, walking the other way or something.
Drops his stuff
Yeah.
next to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Dodge.
Okay. Interesting.
So yeah, pretty pleased with myself about this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, later, maybe like an hour or two later.
Yep.
I was walking down one of the like main streets of Istanbul at like 5 p.m. and it's absolutely like packed. Peak tourist season, peak time of day. Like scam o'clock.
Scam o'clock.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
And
And it's your hour.
and some guy it was some guy calls out to me,
Yeah.
and firstly I think it was like to kind of like make me more trusting of him, but he was like asking if I spoke Turkish.
Yep.
And then I was like, nah, and he was like, oh, I'm trying to find this bar, like I'm a solo traveler, do you know where it is? And I was like, nah, sorry, I'm not sure. And he was like, oh, well, do you want to try and find it together and then let's have a beer there?
Question, just because I know this story,
Yeah.
but this is a relevant question now.
Yeah.
Did that bloke speak English, obviously, but with a Turkish... Like, do you think he was a Turk?
Well, this was part of his story as well. He said he was from Cyprus, I think.
Okay.
So it's half Turkish.
yeah.
Semi-occupied.
Yeah, so he could have been Turkish, he could have been from somewhere else, but that was kind of part of his story, that he was from somewhere that seemed believable based on his accent to me as like a...
Solid traveler, but...
He was like, yeah, I work in like finance in Dubai.
Okay.
So he had a bit of a story.
So this, Cypriot, potentially,
yeah.
who works in finance.
Because half
Dubai.
of Cyprus is Turkey.
Yeah.
Occupied.
Half is Greece.
And half is Greece. It used to all be Greece and then Turkey invaded.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you've met this so-called Cypriot.
Yeah. And then he's like, then I was like, yeah, sure. Like, and this was like after about 5 months of travel, and I guess I'd trusted people who seemed far more dodgy and been all right. And it more than being all right, it had led me to some like great experiences.
Okay.
So I was kind of conditioned to be saying yes to these kinds of things.
So you have a mad bug on your eye.
Thank you.
Oh, now it's just dead on your eye. Yeah,
What a
there you
moment.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
That's it, isn't it?
That was so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you,
Wow.
friend.
I was just looking
Ted
at him
almost
really
shed a tear.
weird, and he was looking at me like, "Why are you looking at me so weird?" So weird.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it's hard to. Yeah, that was a real moment there. Hard to resume.
Because you met this weird Cypriot guy. You've gone to the bar with him. You've trusted him because you've been on travels for 5 months, and
Thanks, Xav.
you're welcome.
Yeah, Zab really wanted to get it moving along.
Yeah.
He was...
For fuck's sake, I'm going to be listening to this later.
Oh, my God.
Playing on 2x.
Yeah, skipping all this rubbish. Yeah.
First red flag was he just like walked. He started walking towards this bar when it was he was supposed to not know where it was. Like he knew where it was. If that makes sense.
Yep.
So wait, why does he not know where it was?
No, he's like I can't find this bar. Will you help me find it?
Oh,
And then he just like puts his phone in his pocket and walks.
okay.
So, and we're talking this time, and like the other red flag is he's just saying some absolute, like slightly heinous stuff.
Like
as
what?
well. Like talking about all the chicks he wants to like fuck while he's on holiday,
Okay.
and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking like, even if I believe, like maybe I was still believing him about his story,
Yeah.
but I was just like, I don't really like this guy. Like he seems like a bit of a fuck.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, for some reason, yeah, I guess it's the yes man thing. I just kept following him, and there was some kind of weird social contract that I'd agreed to help him.
Yeah. You're seeking that fist bump. Respect, bro.
Exactly.
So how were you helping him find this bar? Did you have internet, or were you like putting the directions?
Or less helping him find it, but more accompanying him for a drink, I guess.
Okay. Yep.
Like a kind of being nice to another solo traveler.
Yeah.
And we get to the bar and it's just like looks like the shadiest like nightclub you've ever been to. Like it doesn't really look, it looks more like a nightclub than a bar. Like it's like downstairs.
Yeah.
Like no, like it's really dark with just like kind of neon lights in there, and it's like all booths.
Mm-hmm.
And we sit down at one of the booths.
The kind of place you can't like. You actually.
Okay.
It just doesn't exist in.
Yeah.
I had to say, but first world country, like
No, like there. It's just like the shit club that you'll like
Right. Okay.
go to.
Okay.
Like
No,
I'd say I've been to some places in
Okay,
Melbourne that have
cool.
similar energies.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's like I always find those places in like Mexico and stuff. It's like what is going on?
I guess maybe you're not
cheap
see.
to put it up.
You'd probably know better than to end up in them in Melbourne.
Yeah, fair.
So, from my understanding, have you inadvertently rented this booth, or what's the? Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so we sit down in the booth and we get like a beer each, and then he's like, "Oh, do you want to get some food?" And I was like, "Oh, whatever." And like,
Wow, so you're not here for the fist bump. You're here for the whole night. Like you're.
But there's a fist bump coming. Is that?
Yeah, it is. He might be. Hey, come home. You're like, okay, continue.
And like the food comes and it's like a fucking platter. And I'm like,
Ted's being vulnerable. He's sharing his mistakes.
Yeah, true.
And about this point as well, like two girls come and sit down in the booth and just like immediately like nestle like really close, like knee to knee,
So
contact.
Is this a busy place?
There's like a couple of other people in there. Yeah.
Okay.
But not many.
And there's no natural light.
No natural light.
Oh,
It's
okay.
really dark. And then the girls, as soon as the girls sat down, just the way they were like interacting with us, like made me think like, oh fuck, like what am I? This is like, I guess I'd probably been ignoring red flags. And then at this point, like I can't really ignore them anymore, and I'm like,
Okay.
this is a scam. Like, I'm in trouble here.
Yeah.
And like the girls ordered some like really expensive drinks, like a really nice bottle of champagne, supposedly.
Yeah.
And at this point I had like a stupid thought in my mind. I was like, you know what? Like, I think I'm better than you guys. Like, I can ride this scam and like drink and eat as much as I want, and then I'm just gonna fuck off.
Scam the scammers.
Yeah.
That's great. That's quality thought. Such a quality thought.
And
Yeah.
I can take on two girls.
Yeah.
No worries.
yeah.
Left, right, good night.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus.
It was going through his head though.
Yeah.
Going through your head.
I'm going to the baños. Sorry.
And well, yeah, no,
Alright,
that was
Turkey.
like that was part of my plan.
We're more, man.
And
We'll just cut it out.
I was like at one point like, oh, can I?
Especially the violence on girls' part.
Yeah, that was you. That's all you made.
Yes, I have. What?
Sorry, let the man speak. Let the man speak.
Takes me a while to
We
get
love
there, though.
women. Oh, jeez.
But yeah, I'm like, oh, I need to make a call.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, oh, you do realize like this is a big bill, like, that's outstanding. Like, we don't want to like make sure you don't leave without paying, so you got to pay the bill now. And they bring out the bill, and it's €1,000.
Ooh. No.
What? How is that even a thing?
€1,000.
Yeah, and
What were you eating?
I'm panicking at this point.
Lobsters and Dom Perignon? Like,
It's just like a fucking like kebab platter.
what?
That is.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, wow.
And yeah, at this point I'm like starting to panic.
Yeah.
Like even though I've still got this plan in my mind, like just realizing what's at stake here, how much money is on the line. And then the guy who like led me there, he was like, "Oh, we'll split it, 500 each." And I was just like, "Oh, this is just part of the scam, isn't it?" Like he splits it to make you feel slightly better.
Yeah.
And the worst part was, I was kind of like, I wish I could have mustered some kind of anger in me at this point, but I just kept being nice to these people. So they were almost playing the act too well. Like, it was like if I started getting like shirty and angry, like,
So, I mean, I don't expect you to remember the receipt thing, but like,
yeah.
do you have any inclination of what a kebab platter was costing? Was it €230 for a piece of meat? Like, what was going on?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but I reckon the bulk of the cost was from the like expensive wine bottles that were ordered.
Oh, the bottles.
Yeah.
Nice.
Man, bottles in a club setting are crazy. I had one night months ago, but that sales job,
Oh, yeah.
and they're ordering bottle, and I was in on it, like, you know, I was splitting the bill and whatnot, but a bottle of vodka, like a nice bottle of vodka, like a Grey Goose or something, which is what I think that's $90 in Dan Murphy's. It's $450.
Jesus.
Wow.
When we're in a club,
Yeah.
Mate, that's like, it's not that much. That's like almost as bad as this story. Like,
Yeah.
So, okay, we're in Turkey, right? This €1,000 bill. Surely the establishment is in on this as well. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh yeah,
right?
they were.
So this is you are in the midst of multiple people here that are planning against your demise. Like,
Yeah, the odds are stacked against me.
yeah,
And
like people are at the door. Like, there's a guard at the door. He knows. He's like, fuck this.
oh
guy,"
yeah, like,
you know, like,
the chicks know,
everyone
like,
knows.
the bar knows.
Yeah.
It's like
Wow.
a well-oiled scam.
Yeah.
And so at this point they were like basically like pay up. And I was like, okay, like I need to like sort some money out in my account. Like, can I use the Wi-Fi? And so I got onto the Wi-Fi, transferred all the money out of my account and gave them my card, and then it declined. And that was kind of just to buy me like some time. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was just like, that seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
And then it also didn't really make sense, but I was like, oh, I need to go and use an ATM.
Okay.
And withdraw money. And they were like, okay. And then the guy who brought me to the bar, and also a security guy from the bar, walked me to the ATM. And kind of this was my
So the guy who, I guess in the scam, like you're buying into the scam thing, he's like, I don't want to get stuck with the whole bill. I want to make sure you pay half.
Yeah, he's like, don't fuck me over, man. Like, this is what we got into. Like,
Was he also pissed off that the girls had ordered all this champagne?
I think he was just like, kind of being like, oh, that's just what girls do, hey, and like,
And was
we might get to sleep with them, like.
But did they stick around? Like, were they like playing on the "I'm gonna sleep with you" card?
Or like without like saying it, they were like grabbing our like legs and stuff and just being like really flirtatious. So I think
that says some things.
that
in
was meant to
itself.
be like,
Yeah.
But as soon as this like payment stuff, did that shut off?
well, like it's probably just best that I say the story as it happened.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
But yeah, this was kind of my moment as I was. Hello.
Hey. Obrigado. Perfecto.
Cheers, Pedro.
Obrigado.
Nice.
I'm there.
That was perfect.
Fluent.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No. And yeah, this was kind of the like big decision point, of like if I ran away, and just legged it into the crowd. That was kind of my idea by trying to get to this point, or whether I just sucked it up and paid it. And I had a couple beers and I was like absolutely like panic stricken. So it was pretty like kind of altered decision making state, I guess.
Yeah, because you don't want to like. It's like so obviously a scam, but that 2% of doubt. Like, what if these were just girls being manipulative, and what if this guy was real, and what if I run, but then the security guard catches me,
That's probably
and
more
then I'm
what
in
it
a
was.
Turkish prison.
Yeah, it was probably more like, I know this is a scam, but what if, even if it's a scam, like the system is built in a way where like you could still be the villain.
Because you still ate the food and drank the drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was like a security camera like flashing red, like, which I just kind of saw as I was like walking out of the entrance to the bar, and I was just like catastrophizing, I guess, like imagining the worst possible situation that could happen. And like, yeah, I guess 500 euros, it's a lot of money, but like I was at the end of my trip and I was still probably going to make it home. Otherwise it wasn't like a life or death situation. Like, it's not like I would have been stuck in the middle of nowhere, no way to get out. So yeah, I paid up and
So you go to this ATM, you withdraw 500 euros.
Yeah.
Go back downstairs.
yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, keep drinking with us," and I was just like, "I'm leaving."
Yeah.
But yeah, at that point, that like kind of frustrated me because inside I was like pretty enraged. I wanted to like say like "fuck you," like, but like, I was just like, "Oh no, like I don't want to drink with you anymore." Like, it was nice hanging out. See ya, bye.
It feels like yes, scam, and like who knows the level of organization behind it, but also there are the facts that they didn't get cash out of, like, if the girls were drinking expensive champagne, and obviously it's not worth that much, but like places like that do charge that much, right? So it's on that borderline of, this wasn't like an outright scam where they got 500 euros out of me.
Yeah.
Like, there were products like kind of exchanged in this process, maybe overpriced, but like it was more like I got probably in a weird way rolled into this thing of like overconsumption.
And it was kind of largely built on the premise that like a guy should pay for a woman's drink.
Yeah, did you? Fuck, sorry.
And I should have. Yeah, there's.
I'm getting
Fucking
smashed on my feet
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, you got to keep them open.
I
so you
think,
can
what's her
see.
name?
I got some.
I think we need to take up
I got
Favela
some
and
Bushmans
offers.
as well.
I got
Yeah.
Bushmans?
Yeah.
Fantastic, because I'm getting destroyed here with malaria, whatever the fuck's around here. Yellow fever? Sorry, that was rogue. Yellow fever.
No, malaria's in the jungle.
Yeah, so, yeah.
You do need
What
your
kind of
yellow
stuff?
fever certificate usually to like leave Brazil and go to other countries.
Correct.
If you've been in Brazil for more than 10 days,
Yeah.
I think other countries require it.
Yeah.
We won't have been here for 10 days.
You've got your...
I've got it, yeah.
You've got it. Yeah, I've got mine too. Wet, but...
Yeah,
Intact.
that's the one thing I've had for like with my passport.
Yeah.
For far out, like 7 years or whatever it is, and like never used it.
Yeah.
No one's ever up.
But yeah, so you've been scammed, you've paid up, feeling like shit.
Yeah.
What are the learnings, takings? Where are we? Yeah.
Well,
How are we not getting scammed in Brazil?
well, no. The thing that I like had to tell myself after this.
Just don't hang out with hot chicks.
Yeah. Were they hot, by the way? I don't know. We haven't covered that off.
Like moderately.
Okay. So they touched you on your thigh and you weren't excited.
I feel like
It's like
okay, this is a rogue
It
statement.
was also just so like blatantly like suspicious that it
Yeah.
was so disingenuous. That, like,
Okay.
how could you be attracted to?
Okay, this is
Hey, you're a
terrible.
beautiful man.
No. If anyone's listening to it at this point, they're like, back us enough to like hear what we say. But there's so many of these types of people in general that are like hooked into a different line of like value, and the kind of girls that like would value drinking champagne and the payment of others, like
Yeah.
that is hot to a lot of people. And I don't think, knowing us three, that is what we're attracted to.
Yep.
But yeah, there's like a certain type of figure that is. Anyway, I'll leave it at that because I don't want to
Yeah.
dig myself.
No, great. Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, on the note of the moral of the story, because I felt like just like obviously my trust had been like completely betrayed. But I was like, think back to all the like incredible shit that's like
Nice.
happened before this,
Yeah.
and like all the people you've trusted, and like something amazing has happened, and like all those experiences that people like just gave for free out of the kindness of their heart, and that's probably worth more than 500 euros.
Yep.
And so I was like, I can't let this like defeat me, and so I think I left Istanbul 2 days later, and I decided to hitchhike.
Yep.
To Gallipoli, and met some amazing people along the way. And
Great.
it just completely
Great.
reversed my
So good.
like
Yep.
bad first impression of Turkey.
Oh, I love it.
Such a good antidote to that like
Yeah.
scam, like
Yeah.
the distrust, and then quickly building up that trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
That's
that's my lesson. Like, don't let one bad story completely ruin your ideas of doing something. Yeah.
Love it, Ted. And I know we've got a few stories banked up, but I also know we're going to do another episode like this on the top of Mount Roraima.
Yep.
So I might leave most of them for
I reckon
that.
That's a good place to.
What I wanted to kind of maybe end on, and this is cliche as fuck, but like this is essentially. By the way, Ted's birthday.
Oh yeah.
We should have.
Happy
I meant like in my head, I like noted to start with that, but we just didn't. So here it is at the end. Are you
We're all a bit excited.
Are you
It's
24?
Yeah.
24.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
So good. But it's New Year's Eve tomorrow, and then it's New Year's Day the next day, right? Now, I know I've got all sorts of exciting things happening and youth chapters and whatnot beginning, but like I just wanted to touch base with where you guys are feeling through this last year, and then into the next year. So maybe Xav, kick us off.
Great.
Because I know you've had a big one, like business-wise. I also wanted to ask, and maybe this is where you can start. You're doing this trip. How long are you going to be away? 6 weeks or something? In
6
total?
weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Yeah.
You've had heavy business stuff going on. For context, essentially halfway, maybe 3/4 of the way through an apprenticeship of taking over your father's business and like giving it that second generational run that really sends it into the stratosphere, as far as I've seen historically, of whether it's empires, whether it's businesses, whether it's whatever, which is super exciting to like. I mean, it's super exciting to witness.
Yeah.
So I imagine it's super
It's cool.
exciting to like, like live, right?
I mean, yeah.
But with that, and I've definitely felt that the more guys, not Ted, because we're kind of on a similar wavelength of just living life and having fun and traveling, but like a lot of guys from school, for instance, who are this age, kind of 23, 24, 25, or it really hits at 25, of like staring down the barrel of adulthood. Serious, full-time, 4 weeks of holidays a year, like life's over. And a lot of people
Yeah.
aren't doing what they love, so it does
Yeah.
feel like life's over.
Yeah.
Now, I personally know that that's not where you sit, but like, you're still in a similar situation where at least your time and energy is being increasingly crunched into one pursuit. So maybe that's a good place to start of what's been this last year like, what's this next year going to be like.
Such a good question. Incredible question. I have been reflecting on that. I think one thing I caught myself out today, especially, is that I've been I've been pursuing next year's goals already. I've been, okay, this is who I want to become, this is where I want to be, this is what I want to be doing. And then today I caught myself, I was like, well, where's the reflection? Where's the stop, pause, see how far you've come, what you've done? Because it's been like the past 2 years, especially for me, have been like quite full on, incredible. I didn't think I was going to be here in Brazil with you guys, especially because, like, for context, I booked this like a year ago almost, and I didn't even know if you guys were coming. Like, this wasn't.
We were not coming.
Yeah, you were not coming. Oh yeah,
It wasn't even on our radar.
it wasn't on the radar, but now you're here, and I think, in a very weird way, that's kind of how life has gone for me, in the sense that things have been flowing downstream and I've been going with it over the past 2 years.
Sorry to interrupt, but every time in my life where I've been very focused on a good goal, it's felt like that.
Yeah.
Because it might feel like I'm only focused on whether it was rowing or school or freediving or whatever it was. But it's such an attractive thing because there's so little of it in the world that everyone around you just wants to be in that river.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the work itself is difficult, but because it's a good goal, it's worth that striving and struggling. And then it's even better. Like, the cherry on top is that everyone else is attracted to that because deep down, that's what everyone wants.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting because the goals for this next year is to be like a light for other people, to get other people on board. I think one of my passions really is to help other people succeed in their own life journey, whatever that is. And it's interesting because a part of that goal is, like, I'd hope that people would come alongside me in this river and then find themselves like in that stream. I don't know if that is it's too cheesy or whatever it is, but that's how I really see the future.
In your presence,
In my presence.
it might be joining
But
the
it's not
company,
like-
but it might just be being a friend. It might be just following you on Instagram and seeing what, like, like the levels of inspiration. Some people who are super close, like an intimate partner, for instance, they might be 90% locked in.
Yeah.
But someone who follows you, went to school with you, who's just like 2% locked in because, like, they see a post and they see what you're doing and you're in Brazil and it's like, oh, that makes me excited about life. It's only 2%. There's 50 other people they look at, but
that's
worth it.
That's the absolute dream. I've now got an Instagram manager. I've told.
Really? What?
Yeah, so I don't do it. Like, okay, this is so like
That's ridiculous.
yeah. I do not do Instagram. It's not my thing. I don't want to be on social media. I don't mean that right. In my mind, I think
Social
okay,
media manager.
yeah,
Cunt.
that's well, like, she's not a manager. It's just a friend right now, just like posting things for me.
So all these posts,
yeah, they've been her. They've been her.
but they're just normal posts, bro.
Yeah, oh, yeah, but I don't like. That's not me. Like, this is
Say
very.
something weird.
Well, I help.
I love this because this is like
Yeah.
most people who have social media managers are just cringy content creators.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have a social.
Yeah.
What was the caption on your Instagram post today? Because I thought it was like quite a normal caption that, like,
That is life in Patagonia or something. Or
Life in Patagonia
Life
is pretty
Patagonia
good or
is pretty
something.
good.
Yeah. Is that you?
I said, like, that's life in Patagonia was the slogan of the trip. I gave that to her and she added like 2 words. Hold on.
There's an app where you can post on Instagram and all you can do is post from the app.
Yeah. I mean, look,
you don't see the feed.
that's great. I would rather her use that app, don't even care, and just that function becomes hers. Like,
Can
it's
I
so
ask how
fun.
much you're paying this person?
Well, I'm not currently. Like, I was thinking, like,
She's part of the river.
what do I get her? That's exactly. Oh my god. because I've been encouraging her. Like we were talking about her goals, and her goals was like to stop doing some things. I'm like, well, what about who you're becoming? You know, trying to help her become the best
So
version
you're
of
giving her
herself.
life coaching services. She's managed your Instagram. Oh my god.
No, but then again, like she's like a cousin or a friend. Like she's so close.
Yeah.
Beautiful character. So, anyways, she's helping manage the Instagram. But that's a part of, yeah. Look, I delegate all functions that like I think someone else is better at. Like she is just so good at the Instagram thing.
I'm just
It's
trying to
not-
look like, sorry, but I'm trying to look like 10, 20 years ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know what you and I are going to be, but this guy's going to be so rich. It's not even.
It'll be like,
Oh, jeez.
it'll be like paying us to come on holiday with him to like that
Yeah.
company. Like,
Well, it's like interesting. Like I don't have any monetary goals. Like none. Like I have no goals to become super wealthy or
Jeff Bezos is in his Honda Civic where he has like $6 billion.
Honda Civics aren't a bad car. They're not a no. I don't know. Look, there's no monetary goals or anything like that, but like we're currently on a great trajectory. Like things are going well. And yeah, it's I don't even know what to say now. It's like yeah, I've kind of dug the hole.
No. So get yourself out. So let me pull you out.
Okay.
So this year's felt quite like do a future focus, whatnot.
Okay, so this year it's felt almost like banging my head against a wall in some ways. I don't know. I think solving problems is often, and that's the role that I pretty much occupy, I guess, within the business is like I'm solving problems to help us grow, to help us flourish, all those kind of things. So I felt like I've been banging my head against the wall, not only because I'm solving, they're probably not really complex problems. It's more so I'm just young, I think, and I'm still figuring out the industry. Like I just passed the course, which gives me the certificate to actually be a planner within the industry, and I'm helping doing like compliance things for like the
You've
regulatory
just been
bodies.
certified to participate. You're trying to revolutionize already.
Exactly.
Classic young person.
Super naive, and yeah, that's how I see myself. Super naive, full of energy, like strength in terms of
But
mental strength.
exactly
at
what the
least.
world
Like,
always needs, especially my above average knowledge of that industry,
yeah.
is what that industry needs more than anything.
I see this. I see the industry that I'm in. So I'm a financial planner for context. I see the industry as all old people who don't really have much vision.
So for context, my mum is
Yeah.
a financial planner.
My dad, financial planner. Lots of old people selling businesses, right? And not much technological innovation. And, which is great, heaps of government red tape jumping into the industry, forcing people out. They've just released, I think it was in 2020 or 2022, they increased red tape for people to enter the industry. So there's far few participants joining and more than ever people leaving. So it's like Guyana in its current state. Like there's this huge oil reserve on the end of the oil cycle almost, and there's just this. If you get it right, and if you play the chess pieces right, you just win.
Yeah.
You just win,
And you've
that's-
got so much precedent to study and watch, and your own father, but also plenty of other people and businesses that you can buy and make better. All the foundations are laid for you, just like
Yeah.
they are for Guyana. They can see how Dubai did it right, and Nauru with their phosphate reserves did it so wrong, and they can play the right cards.
Well, imagine we're almost. Look, I wouldn't say we're the Saudi Arabia of the oil. We're not the biggest financial planning company out there, but we've worked out like the winning formula. How much to charge customers, how to run systems efficiently, those kinds of things. So the business model works incredibly well. Now, like just acquiring other businesses and just growing, it's almost natural progression. But the new challenge ahead is like we're growing from 16 people, I think, to 32 within the space of the next 4 months. Like we're doubling, and then having to navigate if we grow more people or how we're going to make systems more efficient, or how we're like there's lots of new ground to break.
So we haven't fully, and I really want to that first episode, but it was the first episode.
Yeah.
Got into the business side. But while we're here, I'll just do one section of it.
Yeah.
The people. When you have 16 people,
Mm.
in a sense, as a boss, as a leader, I mean, a dad as a leader, like it's about proximity to the leader and whether the worker under you knows where you want them to go, knows, like they just need to know, they have clarity of what can I do that's right, what can I do that's wrong, and how can I feel connected to the cause. Like that's kind of the fundamental
Great.
borders of that relationship. As you increase, just naturally, there's only one of you. So if you have a 16th, what's the maths? I don't know, like a bloody 7%, you know, for each person, or 6%. And then like, you know, that's going to suddenly go down to 3%. And the people who have been there for a long time might feel that like, oh my God, like, you know, there's a single child and then they have a kid, like, you know.
Yeah.
On that people sense, what maybe coaches are you involving, or like knowledge you involving, or just intuition? Where's your mind and head at with upskilling to deal with the people?
That's a great question. It's like the problem isn't here yet. So like we've not got the extra people, we've got where we are. And so I've done a leadership course. I did a leadership course prior to I do my degree for a year at a church, which was fantastic. I mean, it's a very different setting, but I grew a team from like 2 to 20, 25 people, like within the space of 6 months. Like I naturally gravitate to growing, like people wise, like I love bringing people on board, like getting the vision strong, getting people like excited to do this. I was the food team. That's what we'd do. We'd cook food for this youth program, and people loved it. It became almost like a part of the culture.
Yeah, culture. Like
Culture.
I back you 100% to be able to lead as many people as you care for.
Yeah.
Just knowing you and being in the proximity. What I certainly see and feel in myself, and I presume is at least in some part in you as well, is I feel like you can carry as many people with you towards a vision if you have that vision.
Yeah.
But when you don't have that vision, you can't. Right? And the I think that's true for anyone, right?
Yeah.
And the sustainability of that vision, is that something you're therefore then having to protect? Like, okay, I can believe in this for the next few years, but what if 10 years down the line, like we've built this mega structure of 200 employees and I just don't give a shit?
Yeah. That's interesting question. I think it now like begs the answer, like, what is the vision? Like, what are we growing towards? And this is more a part of, I think, me as a person. It might not be the whole vision for CCA as a company. But for me personally, my whole goal is to grow net worth, assets, income, so that I can help other people. That's like the goal. And the fantastic thing is, so many people want that, especially in Australia. Like people are trying to find meaning. I feel like that in Australia, there's lots of this growth or this influx of young people who are really intelligent, who have this massive lack of meaning in their life, huge lack. And I can kind of step on the side here, having gone through this. For context, like I went through the church and I went like guns blazing into faith, then fell out of it. And falling out of faith when you're completely in love with the deity that's outside of you, you have to find your meaning again, because you've lost it. You've lost. My whole meaning was that God, and now I'm like, okay, what is life? And I think it's this weird kind of mixture of Christianity, but not so, in that you have to love people. And I think that's where I'm at now, is it loving people, doing things for people, being generous, kind, creating a family is the big, huge on my like meanings list, if there was one. So I think into this next year and creating into this next year, for me, I'd love to create a family around work. And I think that creates the meaning for other people that come into the company. And the great thing is, and this is, I guess, ties everything up, so many people I've found within CCA already simply wanted to become financial planners because they wanted to help people. So it's like, I don't want to create a cult or anything, but it's almost like, well,
Have I got the answer?
Have I got
you?
the answer for you? Like so at the end of last year, what we did was we did something called Christmas Box, where one of my friends from church, he went to a new church, and that church does lots of community outreach, and they were packing up Christmas boxes for people in need or who didn't have celebrated Christmas. And CCA partnered with that charity, and we packed 250 or 200 Christmas boxes for people, for a family, mind you. So that's 4 times whatever. Yeah. So, and then centering our culture around that we're not just here to, fill out forms for people and make thousands of dollars for people. We are really making a difference. And I want that to tangibly be in everyone's mind that this is the direction we're heading in. That's how I see things going. And I think that's how my dad thinks as well, which is great. He constantly reminds me, he's like, Xavier, look, we're not dams, we're rivers. We're meant to flow. We're meant to help people. We're meant to be a change agent for the world. We're not just meant to keep all the wealth for ourselves. And I think that's becoming the culture of CCA, and more so into 2025. I can't wait for the things ahead. It's so exciting. Like the beautiful things I think we can do, honestly. And that just brings a massive smile to my face. So
I love the energy of that,
Yeah.
of that cult. And
yeah,
because everything good in life is a cult, right? Like, no, seriously, I don't say that. I say that without the negative connotations,
Yep.
because I think if you look at it in the right light, it's a beautiful it's culture, right? It's the same root word. My one question for you personally going into this new year is building that structure that is relying on you at least taking responsibility as in that leadership position on this can all exist and this can all be built and to an unfathomable scale, but I am a bit of a keystone in it, or I will put myself as a keystone in it, or become that just by nature. That is a beautiful and fulfilling and powerful and worth it way to look down the barrel of that adult responsibility.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it is that adult responsibility.
Yeah.
So how's that going?
Yeah, good question. I think, being an adult, it's interesting.
Because there's always that
It's
pull to
yeah,
nah, even though it's the best, most beautiful way I can do it,
yeah.
I don't want it yet.
Mm.
Right? It's the guy who doesn't want kids yet. It's the guy who has commitment issues. It's the guy who has a great business opportunity that it can really build a beautiful thing around, but doesn't just. I want to be able to backpack America for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
And they're can't mutually exclusive. There's so many things that are associated with youth and quote unquote freedom. You can unpack that.
Yeah, of course.
Which are mutually exclusive with that beautiful goal and dream and idea.
Yeah, that's a really good thought. Because I've been thinking about this myself as well. Like, am I rushing into things, which I probably do by nature? I think it's who I am. I think it's the send it attitude that's just in me.
This is the bigger adventure.
There's so many types of adventures, and I actually don't like to separate life like that. I don't like to say, hey, this is my youth and I'm on my own, traveling the world, finding things that way, or I'm at family, sending business, whatever. I think they're both adventures, just in a very different capacity. And my love is for the adventure, is for the growth, is for the send. So, for example, and this is weird, really, I go to work in a suit and tie, not a tie, but freaking nice clothes every day, beautiful shoes, whatever. And now I'm here on the top of a
Beautiful shoes, Ted.
yeah.
Shining yourself.
I do actually. Yeah. But look, now we're here on top of a freaking house with not very strong ground, in a favela.
Imagine we just
Yeah. But look, the send is just, I think that's the current of life. And I think that honestly,
So I'm just making sure Ted's in the frame. Yeah, Ted, you're kind of out of the frame there. So no.
okay. Welcome back, Ted. Yeah. Lucky we weren't on this part. But yeah, if I was going to touch on my perspective of the travel and thing, I think, especially from my upbringing, I've found it the most important thing out of everything is love. And when I'm traveling on my own, it's good. But I think I really do have this longing to love family. Like I really do. Out of I really just want a beautiful community who I care about. I'm happy for that kind of consistency to be in my life. I really don't need to go to Venezuela. We're going to, because I've been thinking about like, why am I actually here? Like, what are we doing? Like, do I really need to send it? Like, and I think it's just for a bit of fun and a bit of spontaneity because I love that too. I love the send, as we've said. But yeah, I think familial love and having a community that you really care about above everything else is just top tier living, absolute top tier living. You really don't need that much to like absolutely like love your life. I think that's a key component that a lot of people are missing nowadays is to just appreciate the mundane family.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'll get a bit open, but like this year, at the start of this year, having lived not the most adventurous life, but certainly more than most, I would say, like running a freediving school in Guatemala.
Yeah.
I was so happy to just completely walk away from that with the dream in mind of like building a life in Melbourne. That would be, I mean, again, it was that's not now a thing, but in my head, it was like, this is a new adventure.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a completely like normal route.
Yeah.
Relationship and friends and Melbourne. And it's like, so much of me is still kind of, and the reason I think that was this particular context wasn't the right one is because there's still too much of me that is like anti that.
Yeah.
Is anti Melbourne, especially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it was only a few months before I came back that I'd said to you three, like with Lily as well, like, oh, I can't even see myself in Melbourne for the next few years.
Yeah.
And I think that, it was powerful enough to maybe stay around for a year, but not quite, like, for a long time. But I definitely completely understand from having gone from like, I'm a few years ago, 5 years ago, like, I completely just want the adventure, the most rogue shit I can get my hands on, to like, no, like having a kid, for example, would be like a crazy adventure. Running a business or, doing a career, whatever it is, would be a crazy adventure, even though it's like status quo.
Yeah. Yeah.
With my perspective on it,
Yeah.
I'm completely rewriting the script for myself.
Yeah.
And other people who I think the good thing about going to Venezuela for you in the future, keep on going to the Venezuelas of the world, and for me and for everyone, is that it keeps the knife sharp. You should be seeing your familial, normal, mundane life as an adventure. But maybe if you do that 3 years in a row, like 1,000 days in a row, it's very hard to, especially when all the people in the office and the housewives and everything else is like, they're depressed and they're getting fat and they're like, they hate their life. And you're like living the exact same life as them. I think it's easy to flow in, like slide into that.
Yeah.
But that's negativity. Whereas if you go to Venezuela every now and again, and over a few months, you're like hopping off and getting that energy in you, the adventure, the zest for life, you can go back and like carry that into what is the exact same life on paper as someone else, but the perspective is completely opposed.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think, it's great to have a shift from perspective, especially from a city like Melbourne, where it's this wild mix of like, yes, you've got family, but you're living 30 minutes away from your grandma and you're living over here. It's like this, you're trying to do the community life with like shit community. So sad, like such a sad way of doing it. And you're having to live the day in, day out, like, just like in the confines of your 4-people wall, but then you've got the business. Anyways, look, maybe it's my ego or my youthful naivety. I think I can completely rewrite that, even being in Melbourne. I think I can create a business that has a family-like attitude, that my family at home will have a great family dynamic. that I can have groups outside of like friends and treat them like family, people I really love and care for, that I can create that olden day style community in an individualistic society like Melbourne. Probably naive, but I 100% think I can do it.
Or Sydney, I reckon.
Or Sydney. There's a chance. There's a couple of
I'm
forces
pushing.
pushing me, but I think there's a couple of plans before that, and it
Yeah.
might happen in 2026. But just
All
let
right.
that reveal.
I
in
love
time.
that, and we'll continue exploring that next episode.
Yeah.
Ted,
Yes.
what's this last year been like? Oh, yeah, you can count it. Yeah. Oh yeah. What's this next year gonna be like?
Well, yeah, that was very lovely to hear, Xav.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Yeah, moving.
Yeah.
Even
On the moving
points.
part, I
Yeah.
really take a piss.
I love that. I think you have your piss, but I'm gonna love that. I can't even imagine if I was Zav's mum or like Zav himself in like 20 years or Zav's kid. Imagine Zav. I'm gonna love having Zav's kid watch that little 20 half an hour bit.
for sure.
Fuck yeah. Anyway, up the pod.
Big up the pod. This coming year for me, I think it's
What's this last year been like?
yeah, this last year. How has it been? Yeah, it's been really nice actually. I guess it's been kind of off the back of a big year of travel before, kind of like what you were saying, after having sharpened the knife, like learning to appreciate life at home and the adventures within that. Getting into a relationship as well, something I've done this year, and that's an adventure,
Yeah.
obviously, as well.
Yeah.
And that's been really exciting. Yeah. Going hard at uni as well, into this master's project that we spoke about a bit on the last
Because
episode.
you talk about uni, but you don't talk about the difficulty of it, like the studying and late nights and stuff. Has there been that stuff?
I mean, not too bad. It's more just been like pushing really hard at one project. And I guess, yeah, just how do I put it? Like the fact that you're funneling all your energy into this one like really specific thing. Yeah. And literally like trying to convince yourself that you care enough to be putting so much time into this one quite niche thing.
Has that been difficult in the sense that at the end of the day, push comes to shove, I don't care about Alpine Ash? Or is it like you have the zoomed out perspective of, if I have a 10 to 20 to 50 year career in this, like this is going to be a great, just this is the context of my learning. Like, how are you framing it for yourself to actually stay with it?
Well, for a start, I think I actually do care about it, which is quite good, and that's kind of why I picked it as a research topic in the first place. And then combined with that, it is, I figure, like the skills that I'm learning are really useful and could apply to a bunch of other topics that I care about as well. So it kind of feels like rocket fuel behind, behind the time and energy.
Yeah, brilliant.
That I'm putting in. So yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you're
nice.
investing.
Yeah, and it feels great to be working on something that I do care about a lot.
Yeah, sick.
Both from like a personal and kind of altruistic point of view.
Mm.
Yeah.
Nice. And how is that going to take you in? Or what are you getting excited about? What are you feeling, like nervous or daunting or new or old or bored? What kind of emotions are you carrying into your expectations this new year?
Well, I guess it kind of feels like it's all building up to graduating.
Mm-hmm. That's halfway through the year, right?
Check this out.
What are they?
Some crazy bird.
Look at it real quick. Look at the lining on the other side of the bat. It's kind of awesome.
Golden.
Yeah.
yeah, this is a cracking spot. I hope the
Beautiful jungle this is.
capture
Yeah.
camera captures it well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels like it's all building towards the middle of next year. And then there's kind of a lot of decisions that need to be made.
Run us through them. What are these decisions?
Yeah, like what do I want to do next? Like what career decisions do I want to make?
Have you kind of got a semblance of an idea of A, B, C, D, E? Like
A little bit. And some of them are kind of decisions that buy a bit of time. Like things that I want to do short term.
that'd be.
But then sorry.
Would that be like bikepacking Central Asia, for instance, or that kind of line?
Or as in, like, I would like to do some kind of adventure once I finish. But also stuff like I've been looking at like some internships, that kind of thing. Working for conservation organisations in like remote parts of Australia, which I guess would be like a pretty nice mixture of adventure and like getting to do cool work. Or get it. But then there's also the kind of impact that has on your like relationships in your life.
Like
well.
a 1 year, 2 year stint in.
Yeah, just
outback.
like disappearing
Yeah.
basically for quite a while.
I guess
So
it's
that's
always
something to weigh up.
especially at this
Well.
age of life. Like, I think with the certainty that maybe you have, it makes sense to. I'm 24. How old are you? 24. Yeah, but like, this is old enough to not be an idiot for going full steam ahead. Like, if you were 20 and being like, okay, like, I'm, ready to get married and full steam ahead. This is the career I'm doing forever. Like, it's like, hang on, mate, do you want to fucking check that? But like, you're kind of approaching that age where if you have that clarity, full power to you. Use that youthful energy. But it's also that time where if you don't have that clarity, and I feel like probably this is the bucket we fall in, maybe a touch more, it's not a bad, evil, like malaligned decision to experiment a bit. Yes, you use up 2 years or a year or whatever, but then for the hope and the idea is that you kind of get more clarity and that will serve you for the next 30. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I feel like I've honed in on like the field that I want to work in, say, but there's still decisions within that that are quite impactful on what my life's going to look like. Stuff like, where do I want to live? Like, and that's something I've been thinking about a bit as well, whether I reevaluating like whether I want to live in a city or like I think I want to try living.
Well, this is
a bit
kind of
more
what I
regionally.
mean.
Yeah.
If you're very set on, I want to live in a city, that's cool. Great for you. If you're not sure, now's the time to live not in Sydney for a year. And maybe that does mean you lose, 1 year of friendships and family, and maybe you lose a relationship or two, but like, it's like, that's a worthwhile trade. Because then you don't have to ask yourself those
questions. Those are
questions
things that I'm trying to work out, I guess, at the moment, preemptively before.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So is that one of the questions playing on you, for instance? Or what, like, can you, I mean, it's personal stuff. So you don't have to, like, get into it, but what are some of those questions playing onto you of, what are these decisions? What's behind them? Like,
well, yeah, like if I like relocated and went to live somewhere else, how would I go in like forging strong connections with people when like I feel like I've got great friends and family and a great relationship where I'm at the moment, and is that like worth like trading that in to kind of scratch my curiosity about whether a city is the best place to live?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
For sure. I think one important part of that, and I don't want this to sound like advice.
Yeah.
It's more like what I tell myself.
Yeah.
So it's only relevant to me, but it might be relevant to you. I say like, and it's not revolutionary, like you go away for a year, you go away for 5 years. Like, I think it only boils down to the people, realistically.
Yeah.
Right? The people who do matter will always be there. Now, that's not to say you can neglect and ignore them. But for instance, I was away for 2 full years.
Yeah.
And a big part of why I came back was because I don't. Oh shit. Well, that's where I want to end up. I'm pretty sure. So like, I don't want to be away for the next 10 years. You know, can you kind of imagine like what our relationship would be like if I'd been away for 10 years?
Yeah.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
I mean, it scares me to think about it, right? So like,
Yeah.
okay, but 2 years, it's pretty good. And there's plenty of like, so I really like personally, I really have like 3 close friends in Melbourne, right? 3 that I'm willing to see all the time and talk like, you know, whatnot. And then really strong connections with family members. Now, ironically, I've missed out and probably got cut from the circuit breaker of the gap year. Dozens of people that I was pretty friendly with through school have kind of fallen off there, right? And those are the people I lost. But because I had to, through video calls and then like when I am here, to really honing in like on those high quality people, well, they actually ironically become more high quality because you're not spreading that energy in time.
Mm.
And it's just the classic quality over quantity. It's a bit different because you got like a group dynamic going on, but like I've never seen it in people be a bad trade. And when it would get to the point where it'd quite obviously be a bad trade, like for me, if I was away for 10 years, I think at somewhere along the line, you will realize that.
Yeah.
And you just, I guess, have to trust yourself to like realize, oh shit, if I stay here if I stay in this country town that's not really working for me for another year, it's going to do damage in the way I don't want it to. But that first year, it's the only thing it's going to do that's damage is actually not damage, it's pruning.
Mm.
And
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
It's like a fast.
Yeah.
Fasting is pruning the dead cells, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, and I think that obviously pruning to an extreme, you go down to roots, you kill the rose bush, but you never prune it, and it's not healthy either.
Yeah.
And I think everyone has a different tolerance for how much they want to prune their life and their friends and their everything in their life, right? And there's no right answer, but it's definitely something that needs to, I think, by everyone in every aspect of their life be looked at the very least.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess something like going away for a while can give you some perspective as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Nice, man.
Big fat pod.
Big fat pod.
Yeah.
Good luck to anyone who plans to listen to all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's at least 2 hours, I would imagine. What was it?
Oh, I reckon more like 3 or 4.
Nah, it's not 3.
3 or 4 hours?
No,
Maybe
no.
I'm just
Let's check.
No, I reckon that might be 1 hour 40 minutes.
2:23.
223.
Well, we got the old 10% battery notification popping up. Well, yeah, that's not even the longest. I think the longest we've got so far is like 2:45. So yeah, what's next? We got Ted's birthday today.
Yeah,
Birth
what are we
night?
doing for Ted's birthday?
No, just going having a look-see around town, I reckon.
I'd love to go for a look around town.
I think, is it unrealistic to mean like we should probably stay up late though, just to like?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I can totally muster that. Don't know about you.
Yeah.
guys.
No.
reckon
As in,
I'll
like, I think that's a tactic because then you wake up tomorrow late, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then you
And then
kind of
primed for a huge
because you want to be
night.
like you don't want to be tired at midnight tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That sucks when you're like at 9 p.m. like, oh shit,
Mm.
to make it till 12.
I guess you could argue there's something to be gained by being up early tomorrow and being able to see more of town, but like that's not really
No, it's
what
not
we're here for.
It's not what we're here for. We'll see Christ the Redeemer. That's it.
Yeah. I'd be happy with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
There's so much to explore around here that it actually hurts.
We'll be back, mate.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
Brazil.
It's Rio. It's an eternal city.
The city's actually screaming at us. You hear that in the distance?
It's pretty well played.
It's a lily pad on the way to
Roraima.
That's the main event.
I'm so excited. Port's ahead.
I can't believe like us in Guatemala is gonna be so fucking
Oh.
don't even know.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I think we moved.
Before we get into mutual masturbation mode, should we
What? What mode?
just stroking our plans for this
Oh, okay.
trip?
Okay.
Yeah.
Talking about how
Let's
excited
turn
we
the
are.
fucking
Yeah.
camera off.